Chapter 433. A Genius Remembering Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. I'm very sorry about that. Normally, the branch master only sends orders and I can't see him. However, Yishang can see the branch master. When Yishang comes, we'll talk about this, said Xianxia. I've long heard of Master Wu Kei's fame, but I've never had the chance to meet her, a man said. Xuanhuan, Supervisor Xianxia, you should know him. This is Supervisor Ling, Lan Yuxuan introduced. The one who wanted to meet Consort Wu was Ling Jian. Supervisor Ling, I've been in the Eastern Shen region for a long time, but I've only met Master Wu Kei twice, Xianxia said with a smile. There are only a few people who can be called invincible in the 9 regions and 18 prefectures, and Master Wu Kei is the strongest among them. It's a pity that I can't meet her, Ling Jian said with a sigh. Yes. Master Wu Kei is unwilling to leave the Eastern Shen region, otherwise. Lan Yuxuan didn't continue. Night Sorrow was talking to Qin Zhen about the outside world. I'm now a purple follower of Tianji Tower. I don't know when I'll have the qualifications to join Tianji Tower, Qin Zhen said with clenched fists. Once you reach the 4th step, you'll have the qualifications to join the Black Watch. It won't take long. When we return to Dongshan City, I'll talk to the higher-ups and enlist you in the Blood Strike Guard, Night Sorrow said to Qin Zhen. Thank you, Martial Uncle 13. I'm still not used to calling you Martial Uncle, Qin Zhen said while rubbing the back of his head. We were friends and brothers before we entered the Medicine Valley. So don't worry about this issue of seniority when we're not in the sect, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then I'll call you Brother 13. Qin Zhen bowed to Night Sorrow. Okay, that's it. Night Sorrow helped Qin Zhen up. While they were chatting, Enforcer Dong arrived at the bamboo forest peak with a man wearing a bronze mask. Lord Yi, Tianji Tower hopes that you can return as soon as possible, the masked Tianji Tower inspector said. All right, I will return to Dongshan City tonight, Night Sorrow said to the Tianji Tower inspector. This time there are a few big shots from the headquarters. I guess they are here to investigate your affairs. It's better to go back early. The inspector from Tianji Tower bowed to Night Sorrow and left. After the people from Tianji Tower left, Night Sorrow looked at Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu. Let's bid farewell to senior brother and head to Dongshan City. The situation there is rather tense. Baidu search Love Gong Xiao say www.ichux.com. Alright. Qin Zhen, do you have anything else? If not, we will depart in a bit, Yang Lei asked Qin Zhen. No, we can depart at any time. Qin Zhen was in high spirits. 13 I can't be an unqualified master. I plan to bring Jiang Ziming and the others to Dongshan City and let them see more. After all, our mansion is big enough. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Alright, we have 4 flying mounts. We can teleport them to Danding City. Night Sorrow nodded. After bidding farewell to Aoi and the others, Night Sorrow brought Jiang Ziming, Xiang Ding, and He Miao to Danding City and teleported to Dongshan City. Senior Sister Jiao Chuyu, bring them around Dongshan City and broaden their horizons. I will go to Tianji Tower. Night Sorrow said after exiting the teleportation formation. Go ahead. Xikong Chuyu and Yang Lei nodded. Night Sorrow rode on his Tianyu and rose into the sky. After putting on his mask, he went straight to Tianji Tower. On the top floor of Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow saw Xianxia, Lan Yuxuan, Ling Jian and Guanyun. 2nd grade Void Inquiry Stage Cultivation Base. Chi Essence that is over 3 zhang*, 3. 33 m per zhang, long. Lan Yuxuan took a deep breath and said after seeing Night Sorrow. There is no problem with your cultivation base. Night Sorrow, can I check your bone age? This is related to the records of our Tianji Tower. Guanyun asked. Night Sorrow looked at Guanyun and stretched out his arm. Lan Yuxuan took a step forward and placed her hand on Night Sorrow's wrist. Then she retreated. Bone age 19. Night Sorrow, do you mind if I give it a try as well? I just want to confirm it. Ling Jian looked at Night Sorrow and asked. He could tell that Night Sorrow did not intend to let others continue to check his bone age after he retracted his arm. I'm from the Eastern Shen region. I really don't care if you acknowledge me or not. You don't have the most basic trust in me, said Yishang. He felt somewhat disgusted at being interrogated like a criminal. You misunderstood. We are not suspecting you. It's just that this matter is very important. Otherwise, the 3 of us wouldn't have come here. Lan Yuxuan looked at Night Sorrow who was frowning and said. Night Sorrow, there is no distinction between our Tianji Tower. Lord Supervisor Lan just returned from Jianghu City and is very concerned about our matters here. So don't think too much. Xianxia could tell that Night Sorrow was a little conflicted with Lan Yuxuan and the other 2. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and stretched out his arm again. Ling Jian stretched out his finger to check Night Sorrow's bone age. Then he nodded to Lan Yuxuan, Ling Jian and Guan Yun. Chief Protector Yin Shui, his heavens rank assessment has officially ended. Lan Yuxuan said to Night Sorrow. This is a good thing. It seems that in the past 300 years, there hasn't been a member who has completed the 5-star assessment in our Tianji Tower. Yin Shui said. If it was 3 years ago it would be like this. But not now. 3 years ago, there was a member who completed the 5-star assessment in the southernly region. Lan Yuxuan said. There are really many talented people. Yin Shui sighed. Night Sorrow, when you completed the 4-star assessment, the headquarters issued you a heavens rank mask. However, it didn't have much authority. Now that you have completed the heavens rank assessment, the situation has changed. There are also some special authorities. This is the Tianji Tower's heavens rank envoy token. After you go to the headquarters to meet the chief tower master, you will officially become the Tianji Tower's heavens rank envoy. Lan Yuxuan handed a golden token to Night Sorrow. Yishang also handed over his old command medallion. These are the resources you need to reach the 5th rank. There are also 300 high-grade crystals. Lan Yuxuan took out some resources from her storage ring. Thank you, Lord Supervisor. Night Sorrow bowed to Lan Yuxuan. You're welcome. In addition, you also have some authorities. For example, Tianji Tower will provide you with weapons that match your attributes and rank. Guan Yun said with a smile. I don't need that for the time being. Night Sorrow said as he touched the reincarnation spear on his back. Alright then. Whenever you have any needs, just tell us. Whatever the Extreme Celestial Tower can do, we will do it for you. You know that the Extreme Celestial Tower is a sect that can be found throughout the 9 regions and 18 prefectures, but we only have a few disciples. Do you understand? Night Sorrow understands. Night Sorrow nodded. Chapter 434. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. I believe you. Yishan nodded. Yishan nodded. Our Tianji Tower's members roam the 9 regions and 18 prefectures. Which force dares to provoke us? This is because they know the consequences. This is a tradition left behind by our ancestors. As long as you enter the Tianji Tower, you will be protected with all your strength, Lan Yuxuan said. However, Night Sorrow, you have to pay attention to another point. We Tianji Tower are proud. If you are defeated and killed by a cultivator of the same level, you can only say that you are not as good as them. No one else will care. Yin Shui reminded Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded. He was not afraid of such a challenge. Okay, you just came back from the Medicine Valley. You must be tired. Go and rest. Lan Yuxuan said. Yishang nodded and left the Celestial Terminus Tower. After returning to Qingxin Cottage, Night Sorrow stood at the gate and looked around, feeling very satisfied. At this time the Qingxin Villa looked very grand. It was not the kind of luxurious style, but rather delicate with a sense of grandeur. Night Sorrow strode into the mansion. The 3 mansions were connected, and the rebuilt Qingxin Cottage occupied a large area. Hearing some movement on the left, Night Sorrow walked over. After arriving, Night Sorrow saw Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu arranging accommodations for Yang Lei's disciples. Not bad. This is very good. In the future, let the brothers of the Blood Strike Guard move in as well. They will be able to see the Blood Strike Guard's cultivation and fighting style, Night Sorrow said. Is Tianji Tower looking for you for something? Xikong Chuyu asked. It's nothing. After I entered the Void Inquiry stage, the Heaven Rank trial officially ended. Then he gave me a token. Night Sorrow said. It's a good thing that the Heaven's Fate assessment has ended. I've been so busy that I forgot about it, Yang Lei said. There are too many people here and we don't have enough servants. We need to buy another batch of maidservants. Night Sorrow turned to look at the situation in the house and said. After that, Night Sorrow and the others went to buy 6 or 7 maidservants to take care of the chores in the house. In the evening, Night Sorrow began to cultivate. He was now in a relatively special stage. If his true chi could smoothly increase by another level, then he could eat the Void Dan and increase his cultivation by another level. Another thing was that Night Sorrow's 4th bloodline talent was loosening, but Night Sorrow knew that it wouldn't be that easy to activate it. Did you look at the original chapter? After analyzing the process of activating the first 3 bloodline energy points, Night Sorrow knew that it would be more difficult to activate the latter bloodline energy points. Not to mention the first and second bloodline energy points. When activating the 3rd bloodline energy point, Night Sorrow experienced twice the difficulty of activating the 2nd bloodline energy point. Night Sorrow felt that activating the fourth bloodline energy point would require twice the amount of energy and difficulty compared to activating the third bloodline energy point. However, Night Sorrow wasn't in a hurry. As long as he could activate it, it would be fine. The length of time wasn't a big problem. Every time Night Sorrow cultivated, he would rely on the Ice Spirit Blood Essence and Soul Crystal. In addition, he also consumed the Spiritual Liquid of Origin, which allowed him to improve in several aspects at the same time. He was very interested in the soul extinguishing / left behind by the Dark Spirit Saint. Night Sorrow wasn't a newbie. He already understood the importance of the soul. The body and the soul were the two most important parts of all life forms. When the soul was damaged, even if it didn't die, it would be an idiot. High-level cultivators could achieve an indestructible soul. Even if they didn't have a body, they could still survive. Through this, it could be analyzed that the soul was more important than the body. Cultivators and monsters below the 5th level didn't open up the deep sea, but the soul still existed. It was just that there wasn't an obvious way to manifest it. The soul extinguishing / was a killing move that specialized in attacking the soul. This was also the reason why the Dark Spirit Saint could perish together with his opponent even though his attributes were restrained by the Life Saintess. Night Sorrow cultivated and so did the others. However, it was only quiet for a few days. This was because Ho Jian, Lei Bao, Lei Zheng and Nan Liyue had all returned. Ho Jian also brought Ho Qingjie with him. Ho Qingjie had also passed the Tianji Tower's dark notice some time ago. He was officially recruited into the Tianji Tower and became a patrol. Night Sorrow introduced Qingjie to the others. Before we arrived at the Medicine Valley, you were able to stand on the same side as Night Sorrow. There's nothing to say. You're a true brother. Qingjie, you're Night Sorrow's brother, so you're our brother? Lei Bao said as he patted Qingjie's shoulder. Hurry up and enter the 4th level. Our team is waiting for you to join us, Ho Jian also said. Qingjie nodded at the others. His face was full of excitement. However, he opened his mouth to say something but nothing came out. Qingjie isn't good at communicating. That's how it is. Regarding cultivation, what do you all have to talk about? Let's go and eat. Night Sorrow waved his arm and led the group to a restaurant to eat and drink. After Night Sorrow finished drinking and brought the group back to the mansion, he met xianxia at the door. Chief Enforcer xianxia, why are you here? Is something the matter? Night Sorrow asked. Yes. I didn't tell you last time. Inspector Lan and the other two want to meet our K-Lord. When I saw you last time, I forgot to mention this matter. They went to Jianghu City a few days ago to fight and help us stabilize the situation. When they came back, they brought this matter up again. However, I can't contact K-Lord. Currently, only you can contact K-Lord. xianxia revealed the purpose of her visit to Night Sorrow. I don't know if K-Lord will meet them, but I can pass on the message, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. Alright, then I'll go back. As for whether K-Lord will meet them or not, you can go to Tianji Tower and inform him, xianxia nodded to Night Sorrow. She also knew that no one could make the decision for Wu Lingfei. In addition, although Lan Yuxuan and the others were important figures in the eyes of others, they weren't much in Wu Lingfei's eyes. Cultivation determined height, and Wu Lingfei had this height. After letting Yang Lei and the others return to the mansion, Night Sorrow rode his Tianyu to the mountain peak where Wu Lingfei cultivated. Seeing Yishang arrive, Wu Lingfei, who had been meditating, opened her eyes and pointed at a rock not far from her. Aunt Fei, people from Tianji Tower's headquarters are here. I passed the Tianji Tower's Heaven's Fate assessment. Night Sorrow bowed to Wu Lingfei. You entered the 5th order before the age of 20, so it's natural for you to pass the Heaven's Fate assessment. However, you shouldn't go to Tianji Tower's headquarters for the time being. Eastern Profound Region is in troubled times, and it's also a good tempering for you, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow understands. Also, Chief Law Protector xianxia just came to find me. She said that the 3 supervisors want to meet you, Aunt Fei, Night Sorrow said. Irritating, but it's not appropriate to not meet them. Alright. Aunt Fei will return later. How have you been recently? The main thing is to find ways to increase your spiritual strength. As for your qi cultivation, it will slowly increase, Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow then talked about how he could cultivate spiritual strength. He hoped that this method could be used as a reference for Wu Lingfei. Chapter 435. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. I understand. Alright, let's go back together. Wu Lingfei stood up and put on her golden mask. With a wave of her hand, she pulled Night Sorrow to her side and flew towards Tianji Tower. Moments later, the two of them arrived at Tianji Tower. Alright, you can go back now. If there's anything, we'll go to the same old place to find Auntie Fei, Alright, then I'll head back first. Knight Sorrow nodded to Wu Lingfei and drove Tianyu away from Tianji Tower, flying towards the mansion. However, he was extremely shocked. The time it took for Wu Lingfei to bring him from the mountain peak to Tianji Tower was less than half the time it took for Lei Hua to fly. What did this mean? This meant that Wu Lingfei was much stronger than Lei Hua. At the very least, she was twice as fast as Lei Hua. After returning to the mansion, Knight Sorrow saw that Qin Zhen was in the middle of cultivating his strength. Hou Jian and the others were giving Qin Zhen some advice. After chatting with the group for a while, Knight Sorrow went to cultivate. He wanted to improve his soul force as soon as possible. He wanted his soul force to reach the liquid state as soon as possible. Knight Sorrow also knew that it wasn't that easy. Many cultivators who had entered the venerable realm couldn't reach this level. However, Knight Sorrow was not discouraged because of this. He had the cultivation method and soul crystals, so there was no way he could not cultivate. After practicing the basics for a night, Knight Sorrow went to the martial arts practice field to practice his spear arts. He had now cultivated the 7-star brilliant moon spear to the point where he could combine 5 spears into one. The 5 spear lights were very confusing, and the attack power was also much stronger than before. This was the effect brought about by the increase in his cultivation. Then Knight Sorrow went to watch Qin Zhen cultivate. Qin Zhen was very hard-working in his cultivation. His current energy exertion technique was somewhat similar to Hou Jian's, both of which focused on deflecting and rebounding force. Knight Sorrow went to see Yang Lei, who was giving pointers to her disciples, and then went to the city lord's mansion. Knight Sorrow asked around in the city lord's residence, but he could not find the blood-clad guard's 5th squad. No matter who he asked, no one knew. This made Knight Sorrow feel very conflicted. He actually couldn't find his subordinates. Unable to get any answers, Knight Sorrow felt quite helpless. He could only tell the manager of the city lord's residence that he wanted to meet with the higher-ups and return to his residence. After some thought and asking Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu for their opinions, Knight Sorrow came to a conclusion. Even in the city lord's mansion, only a limited number of people could come into contact with the Bloodstrike guards. That night, someone came to Knight Sorrow's residence. It was an old man in green robes. Ning Qingfeng led the old man directly to the backyard, where he saw Knight Sorrow, who was cultivating his spear techniques. I am the city lord's mansion's guardian elder, Xuanhuan. Today, I heard from the manager that you had some matters to attend to, Xuanhuan said. Greetings, Elder Xuan. It's like this. I am the captain of the blood-clad guard's 5th squad, but I can't find them, Knight Sorrow said. It's like this. In the city lord's mansion, the blood-clad guard is a secret force that not many people know about. They usually cultivate in the base. Only a few elders know about this, Xuanhuan said. So that's how it is. Then Knight Sorrow understands. Originally, I bought 2 mansions and built a practice field to make it more convenient for everyone. It seems that there is no need for that, Knight Sorrow said as he looked at his residence. It's good that you have such a plan. I will bring them over later, Xuanhuan said. Thank you, Elder Xuan. Knight Sorrow bowed to Xuanhuan. There's no need to be polite. I know that you led the 5th squad into battle some time ago. You did very well. In the future, the 5th squad will be stationed here. This will be their second base. Xuanhuan sized up Yishang's residence and said, That's not a problem. That's what I planned to do when I bought this residence. Brothers can live together and become familiar with each other. In the future, our cooperation will be better, Knight Sorrow said. All right. I went out today to attend to some other matters. I am usually in the city lord's mansion in the east building. If you need anything, you can find me. Xuanhuan nodded to Knight Sorrow and left Knight Sorrow's residence. 13. We didn't consider it enough in the past. Now that I think about it, the 5th squad of the Bloodstrike Guard is definitely the trump card of the city lord's mansion, Yang Lei said. I used to know that they were elites, but I didn't expect them to be of such high standards, Knight Sorrow said. In fact, among the 30 brothers of the Bloodstrike Guard, the oldest is only in his 40s. To be able to cultivate to the peak of the Severed Spirit stage at this age, and some of them have even reached the 5th level, they are all outstanding cultivators, Sikong Chuyu said. Yang Lei, Hou Jian and the others nodded. This group of young people with high average strength and potential was very difficult to integrate into a team. After all, there were very few people. The next morning, Xuanhuan sent the 30 Bloodstrike Guards to Knight Sorrow's residence. He then left after informing the members of the Bloodstrike Guard. Greetings, Captain. Xueling led the group of Bloodstrike Guards and bowed to Knight Sorrow. Don't stand on ceremony, everyone. It's like this. I feel that if we are going to fight side by side in the future, we will need to communicate more. That's why I bought 2 mansions. Xueling, you can arrange for everyone to stay in. There is also a training ground here, Night Sorrow said. I understand. Thank you for your concern, Captain. Xueling nodded. All right, don't stand on ceremony. You know these people. These 2 are also my good brothers. We will fight side by side in the future, so let's get to know each other. Night Sorrow introduced Ho Qingjie and Qin Zhen to the rest of the Bloodstrike Guard. After the arrangements were made, Night Sorrow went to find Uncle Feng and asked him to pay more attention to the food in the residence. With nothing to do, Night Sorrow went to Qianji Tower. On the top floor of the Qianji Tower, Night Sorrow met Yin Shui and Lan Yuxuan. Most are new chapter. Section S Supra Night Sorrow is here. Sit down and have some tea. Lan Yuxuan was not wearing her mask. She looked to be in her mid-30s, but her aura was very strong. Night Sorrow nodded and sat opposite the 2. Night Sorrow, thank you. It was because of your help that we were able to meet Master Wu Quebec. Lan Yuxuan poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow. It's nothing. I'm just passing on the supervisor's message. By the way, what's the situation with the Nebula sect? Night Sorrow asked. The situation is still very serious, but we are able to stabilize it. The only thing is that we are not sure how many venerable dark spiritual corpses there are. The battle is going on every day. Tianji Tower and the governor's mansion did not lose much strength, but the Nebula sect has suffered a great loss. Yin Shui said. Then I will go back and discuss it. If there is no problem, I will go with my brothers later. Night Sorrow said. Chapter 436. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Don't we have many sovereigns there? Can't we just kill them when they come out to ambush us? Night Sorrow asked with a frown. Love go little say Neku we can't. At most, we can injure them severely. The dark spiritual corpses have a unique escape technique. If they are in danger, they will run back to the spatial tunnel. With that disgusting spatial tunnel as their shield, we can't kill them. Besides, they have enough death energy to replenish themselves so they can quickly recover and continue to fight us. Yin Shui said with some annoyance. Can't we do this? When they come out to ambush us, we will send our top sovereigns to block the entrance of the spatial tunnel to prevent them from running back. Then the rest of us will work together to kill them. Night Sorrow said. We can try this method. Send a sovereign to exhaust them first. Don't pressure them too much and don't let them feel danger. Then send a strong sovereign to block the entrance of the spatial tunnel. This way everyone can surround and kill them. Yin Shui nodded. Then let's wait for a while and communicate with the sovereigns at the City Lord Mansion. Then we can carry out this plan. Lan Yuxuan said. Okay, I will communicate with the City Lord Mansion later. Even if we can't completely solve the problem, we can still suppress their arrogance. Yin Shui said. Okay, I will go back first and see how to deal with this problem. Night Sorrow stood up and said. After Night Sorrow left, Lan Yuxuan and Yin Shui continued their discussion. We are all thinking about how to kill them, but we didn't think about how to cut off the dark spiritual corpse's escape route. We are really stupid. Yin Shui laughed at herself. He is young and his vision is different from us. This guy has a strong killing intent. This crisis is also a chance for him to train. Anyway, this crisis is nothing. If Master Wu Kei makes a move, then the trouble can be solved at any time. Master Wu Kei's strength is unfathomable. I can't see through her. Lan Yuxuan said with some emotion. If Master Wu Kei wasn't strong, Eastern Xin region wouldn't be so peaceful. Yin Shui said with a smile. That's right. There are frequent domain wars in the other domains, but none of the domain forces have come to the Eastern Xin domain to provoke us, Lan Yuxuan said. Last year, the Jianghu family from the Qingtian territory came to provoke us, but they ran away before we could do anything about it. Yin Shui recalled that the Jianghu family had burned down Bamboo Garden Village in the Medicine Valley. Jianghu's family has been developing very quickly in recent years. They are a little complacent and a little arrogant. They are lucky that they didn't provoke Fire Dance Tower Master this time, Lan Yuxuan said. They didn't offend Mistress Wu Kei, but they offended Night Sorrow. This matter won't end so easily. Yin Shui shook his head. He knew Night Sorrow quite well, and knew that the incident of Jianghu family cutting off one of Mr. Gu's arms wouldn't end so easily. Currently, Night Sorrow was just not powerful enough. What happened? Lan Yuxuan asked. Then Yin Shui told her about Sikong Chiyu, Night Sorrow, and Bamboo Garden Town. They actually attacked ordinary people. This matter is too serious. No matter who it is, no one will stop. Jianghu's family is looking for trouble, Lan Yuxuan said with a sigh. After Night Sorrow returned to his mansion, he went to a secret room and began to cultivate. However, he kept thinking about whether he should continue to participate in the domain wars. Night Sorrow could ask for the opinions of Ho Jian, Nan Liyue, and the Lei brothers. He could decide whether or not to participate in the domain wars. However, the Bloodstrike guards couldn't. They were the guards of the City Lord's mansion. If they wanted to fight, they had to get the City Lord's mansion's order. Love, Gon Little say Chu this time, Night Sorrow cultivated for 3 days. He only woke up from his cultivation state after turning the ice spirit blood essence and soul crystals in his hands into useless rocks. Then, while chatting with Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu, the two women gave Night Sorrow some advice. If it wasn't necessary, he should let Ho Jian and the others cultivate first. After all, everyone's cultivation was advancing by leaps and bounds. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow felt that the two women were right. He couldn't drag others into the domain wars just because he wanted to. Ho Jian and Nan Liyue hadn't been in the domain wars for long. Their strength was increasing rapidly. Lei Bao and Lei Zheng were trying to break through to the domain wars of the domain wars. They had just eaten the tranquility pill. Ho Qingjie was slower than them, but he had also reached the domain wars of the domain wars. Qin Zhen, who had the lowest cultivation, was improving the fastest. During Yu Yangyu's venerable celebration ceremony, he was at the domain wars of the domain wars. Now, he had reached the domain wars of the domain wars and could enter the domain wars of the domain wars at any time. If Night Sorrow didn't exist, Qin Zhen might be the most outstanding young disciple in the Medicine Valley. What made Night Sorrow gratified was that Ho Jian, Nan Liyue, and the others were very enthusiastic about Qin Zhen. They didn't reject him because of the difference in cultivation level. They were even willing to feed Qin Zhen moves and help Qin Zhen improve his strength. Seeing that everyone else was cultivating, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. The original Carat G Hertz and I5 He All Veen is the pirate edition. This was the first time Night Sorrow had brewed tea for others while they cultivated. Night Sorrow, your chi and blood are getting more and more abundant. The smoke of essence chi has already reached more than 6 jiang*, 3, 33 m per jiang. It won't be a problem for you to reach the level where the smoke will soar into the clouds. Sikong Chiyu said. Your cultivation levels are improving very quickly as well. After stabilizing your cultivation levels, it won't be a problem for you to advance to the domain wars of the domain wars. Once you reach the mid-void inquiry stage, your combat power will be improved. Night Sorrow said. The world is chaotic. Wars may break out at any time. Only with strength will you have confidence. Yang Lei said. Yes. Only with strength will you have confidence. However, it's a little difficult to improve your cultivation level after reaching the void inquiry stage. After all, the energy needed to advance is too great. Night Sorrow said. After cultivating in Pill Cauldron Cliff for nearly a month, Night Sorrow only managed to increase his cultivation level by 1 level. This made him understand how difficult it was to improve his cultivation level after reaching the void inquiry stage. You should know that other than the bottleneck, there are also some void inquiry stage cultivators who are stuck at the first level for 10 years or even dozens of years due to a lack of resources. There are many such cases in our Medicine Valley. People like us who don't need to consider the problem of resources and can improve our cultivation levels quickly as long as we cultivate are something that others wouldn't even dare to dream of. Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that the lack of cultivation resources was the problem that all cultivators faced. It was indeed very rare for someone like him who did not need to worry about resources. This was also the reason why all cultivators wanted to join a large sect and squeeze into Tianji Tower. It was because they needed resources. After that, Night Sorrow took out the resources that Tianji Tower gave him and had a look. They were the Clear Void Pill and the Great Void Pill. However, the quality of the pills was the same as the ones that Night Sorrow concocted. There was no difference between Supreme Grade and Mid Grade. This was related to the level of a Pill Refinement Master. Pill Refinement Masters could concoct Supreme Grade pills that did not have much pill poison when they concocted low-grade pills. However, it was very difficult for Pill Refinement Masters to concoct Supreme Grade pills like the Clear Void Pill and the Great Void Pill because the requirements were very strict. Chapter 437. Genius Remembers Love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Then I'll go get it when I have time. We don't lack 5th rank resources, but we still need the people around us. The most important thing is that they give us high-grade spirit stones. Night Sorrow said with a smile. We don't have high expectations for this. Rank determines the treatment. Night Sorrow, do you know the concept of a celestial oracle? Sikong Chiyu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I don't know. I don't know what kind of position it is. Night Sorrow shook his head. He still didn't understand the internal situation of Tianji Tower. There are only a few celestial oracles in Qinji Tower. They have a lot of power. It can be said that except for the Tower Master, Deputy Tower Master, Chief Supervisor, Chief Protector, and the Tower Masters in other regions, everyone else is a subordinate. The celestial oracles are the representatives of the Tower Master and Deputy Tower Master. Xianxia said. Knight Sorrow was stunned. This concept was a bit general, but he understood the general meaning. Except for a limited number of people in power, everyone else was a subordinate. But I don't think they take me seriously, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. You have the treatment of a celestial oracle now, but you don't have the power because you haven't officially taken up the position, Xianxia said. Knight Sorrow nodded. He didn't care about this. He wasn't a fan of power and didn't have any desire for power. Otherwise, he wouldn't have refused to take up the position of young master of Medicine Valley. One must know that Medicine Valley was now one of the 7 superpowers in Eastern Profound Domain. After chatting with the 2 girls for a while, Knight Sorrow planned to go out and see Xuanhuan. He wanted to see what was going on in Broken Cloud Mountain. Knight Sorrow stopped when he reached the street. He felt that he was being watched. This was his intuition. When Yi Shang stopped, a familiar person appeared not far in front of him. Knight Sorrow was stunned when he saw this person. He didn't expect to meet such a familiar person here. It was the blacksmith uncle who gave him the sky-piercing spear. Why are you surprised? Let's find a place to treat this uncle to a drink. A sloppy-looking blacksmith with a pair of tattered leather shoes said. All right. If Knight Sorrow still didn't know that this blacksmith wasn't simple, then he would be a fool. Finding a restaurant, Knight Sorrow asked for a private room. He took out a jar of green carrot leopard bone wine and poured a bowl for the blacksmith. I know you have a lot of questions, but I can't tell you too much. It's already against the rules to look for you today, the blacksmith said after taking a sip of wine. Knight Sorrow nodded. All right, uncle, please speak. This junior will listen. Someone wants to kill you. The news came from the Qingtian region. The Assassin Hall of the Eastern Xian region has rejected this mission. However, there will still be people who will carry out this mission. So, you have to be careful. The blacksmith drank another bowl of wine and said, Thank you for your advice, senior. Knight Sorrow stood up and bowed to the blacksmith. It's nothing. I just don't want to see anything happen to you. It's fine as long as you know. The blacksmith stood up and glanced at Knight Sorrow. Then he stood up and left the restaurant. When he left, he even held the jar of wine in his hand. Knight Sorrow took out another jar of wine and poured half a bowl for himself. He thought as he tasted the wine. At this moment, he understood that this blacksmith uncle was most likely a member of the Assassin Hall, one of the top forces in the Eastern Xian city. Knight Sorrow couldn't understand why someone from another region would give him a mission to kill him. He hadn't even left the Eastern Xian region. If he had a grudge, it would be with the Xikong family and Jiyu family of the Qingtian region. However, if he had a grudge with them, he would be the one taking revenge. Why would they want to kill him? After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow felt that he should wait for the opinions of Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu. Perhaps he could come up with some other ideas. After leaving the restaurant, Knight Sorrow went to the City Lord's mansion and met with Elder Xuanhuan. Knight Sorrow asked about the situation at the Broken Cloud Mountain of the Star Cloud sect. I heard that they were blocking the entrance of the spatial tunnel. They caught a dark spirit corpse and killed it. However, after one of the dark spirit corpses was killed, they became smarter. They didn't give us a chance to surround and kill them. They fought with us at the entrance of the spatial tunnel. If they couldn't win, they would retreat. Xuanhuan said. These bastards are quite smart. Knight Sorrow was a little dissatisfied that they only killed one dark spirit corpse. YJT-74 version 1-inch. Their intelligence is indeed high. However, they can't do anything for now. Our people have killed most of the dark spirit corpses. Only a small portion of them are roaming around the area. Xuanhuan said. Then it's not a big problem. Knight Sorrow felt a little more at ease. No, the problem now is big. Previously, when Elder Dai Tianxiang and Elder Lei blocked the entrance of the spatial tunnel and were about to kill a dark spirit corpse, a large hand reached out from the spatial tunnel and forced Elder Lei and Elder Dai to retreat. Although it was unexpected, we can still guess that there was a strong person inside the spatial tunnel. Xuanhuan said. How could that be? Knight Sorrow's body trembled. Attacking through the spatial tunnel was a heaven-defying method. After analyzing it, we found that the fellow was strong. However, it was still far from our City Lord's level. That spatial tunnel didn't reject the death energy, so it didn't affect its attack. It was completely different from the City Lord's ability to catch a half-step venerable from the spatial tunnel. Xuanhuan said. That's good. Do you need me to lead the Bloodstrike Guard into battle? Night Sorrow asked, breathing a sigh of relief. The Bloodstrike Guard Squad 5 that you lead is currently at a stage where its potential is rising. Using actual combat to train is the best way to cultivate. You can make the decision yourself. This is the City Lord's will. The resources of the Bloodstrike Guard Squad 5 are provided by the City Lord's Mansion, but the City Lord's Mansion won't participate in other aspects. You can make the decision on your own. Night Sorrow nodded. I understand. I'll ask the Bloodstrike Guard brothers for their opinions. Don't worry about that. The Bloodstrike Guard Squad 5 has expressed their willingness to follow you. They will follow your decision. Xuanhuan nodded. Night Sorrow then left the City Lord's Mansion. The brothers of the Bloodstrike Guard Squad 5 were willing to follow him. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He was very touched. This was the trust of brothers. When he returned to the mansion, Yishang saw the Bloodstrike Guards sparring and cultivating their battle skills. Yang Lei was also training with her disciples. Night Sorrow waved at Yang Lei. Yang Lei informed Jiang Ziming and went to Night Sorrow's side. Xianxia had also brewed a pot of tea. What's wrong? Did something happen? Yang Lei asked. Things are a little troublesome. Someone from the assassination hall has placed a bounty on me. Night Sorrow explained the details to Yang Lei and Xianxia. There's no one else besides the Jiyu family. It seems like they have infiltrated the eastern Shen region. However, they don't have much power. They can only obtain information, but they can't do anything about it. That's why they asked the assassination hall to take action. Xianxia's face was filled with anger. She knew that this was the trouble she had brought to Night Sorrow. Don't worry. I'm already prepared. They won't succeed so easily, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 438. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? Here's a wonderful novel for you to read. Night Sorrow then went to the City Lord's manor and told Xuanhuan about the matter. Love go little say Chu, how audacious. You're a law enforcer of the City Lord's manor. They actually dared to put a bounty on you. You don't have to worry about this. I'll deal with it. Xuanhuan was furious when he heard Night Sorrow's words. Elder Xuan, it's nothing. You're just helping me investigate. If anyone from the Qingtian region comes, just let me know. If they dare to come, I won't kill them, but I'll definitely kill them, said Yishan. I know. Xuanhuan nodded at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow left the City Lord's manor and returned to his own residence. Xuanhuan thought for a moment, then left the City Lord's manor and went to the mountain where Wu Lingfei was cultivating. What's wrong? Broken Cloud Mountain can't hold on anymore? Wu Lingfei opened her eyes and looked at Xuanhuan. It's not about Broken Cloud Mountain. It's about Night Sorrow. Xuanhuan bowed. Night Sorrow? What happened to Night Sorrow? Wu Lingfei stood up. It's the Hall of Assassins. They accepted the mission to kill Night Sorrow. The Hall of Assassins in the Eastern Shen region refused to carry out the mission, but there are still people who can carry out the mission. Xuanhuan told her the purpose of his visit. How audacious. Wu Lingfei's body flashed and she left the mountain. Seeing Wu Lingfei's figure disappear, Xuanhuan hurriedly flew toward Dongshan City. Soon Wu Lingfei stood in front of the Hall of Assassins pavilion. With a wave of her hand, she shattered the lintel of the Hall of Assassins along with the main door. No need to hide. Get out here. Wu Lingfei roared after shattering the lintel of the Hall of Assassins pavilion. Following Wu Lingfei's words, a few people dressed in different clothes appeared. The one in the lead was a merchant. Greetings, Lord Quebec. The old merchant bowed to the golden-masked Wu Lingfei. The Hall of Assassins can now accept missions to kill the core members of the Eastern Shen region's Tianji Tower? Wu Lingfei asked coldly. Lord K, please calm down. I will go and investigate the situation. The old merchant's eyes were filled with shock. Wu Lingfei's aura, he couldn't circulate the energy in his body. I'll tell you now. If this mission continues, I'll go to the 9 regions and 18 prefectures and wipe out all the members of your assassination hall. Don't doubt my ability. You can't make the decision, so just send my words back to the headquarters. Tell your hall master that this is my will. I used to be called the Golden Phoenix. Wu Lingfei waved her arm again and the top floor of the assassination hall was blown away. I will pass the message to the headquarters. The fat merchant, who was the person in charge of the Hall of Assassins, bowed again. Also, bring the information of the next Hall of Assassins to Tianji Tower. Don't talk to me about the rules of the Hall of Assassins. In my eyes, my fists are the rules. Wu Lingfei's voice wasn't loud, but it was absolutely domineering. At this time, Xuanhuan arrived, followed by a group of black iron guards. Lord. Xuanhuan bowed to Wu Lingfei. Clean up. After saying these 2 words, Wu Lingfei's body flashed and left the Hall of Assassins. Elder Protector. The fat merchant wiped the sweat from his forehead. Elder Mu, you didn't do the right thing this time. Xuanhuan said. Elder Protector, this way please. Mu Sha said. The Hall of Assassins was very strong, but that was only relative. They were inferior to the City Lord's mansion and Tianji Tower. Mu Sha led Xuanhuan across the dilapidated building to the backyard of the Hall of Assassins. Elder Protector, what's going on? Mu Sha said with some hesitation. Your Hall of Assassins has a mission to hunt down Night Sorrow, right? You should have investigated. With his excellent qualifications, do you think his position in Tianji Tower is low? He's definitely a core member. Also, to tell you the truth, he's also a guard of the City Lord's mansion. Xuanhuan sat down and said. We were really foolish this time. Elder Xuan, you know that we can investigate some information, but we don't interfere with the Tianji Tower and the City Lord's mansion, so there are some things that we don't know. I found out that he contributed a lot to the Eastern Shen region on the Island of Darkness, so I refused to carry out the mission. Mu Sha said. It's because you refused the mission that you are safe. Now you can only do as the Lord says. Pass the message to the headquarters, I believe they will make a decision. Xuanhuan said to Mu Sha. His attitude was very good. It wasn't the first time he met Mu Sha, and they had some friendship. Okay, I almost got into big trouble. I Mu Sha know about Lord Golden Phoenix. I didn't expect to see Lord Golden Phoenix under such circumstances. Mu Sha said with a bitter smile. Xuanhuan then left the Hall of Assassins. He knew that as long as Wu Ling concubine's name reached the Hall of Assassins, this matter would come to an end. You bastards, come over here. Mu Sha shouted at the blacksmith, Sister Luo, and another man who were standing at the side. GL starter, no need to ask. I'm the one who informed Night Sorrow. We know about his growth and he has done nothing wrong. Besides, he often treats me to drinks, so I don't want to see him get killed. The blacksmith kicked off his beast-skin shoes and walked a few steps away. Then you know about the situation. Why didn't you say anything? We can communicate with the headquarters and ask them to give up the mission. There's nothing wrong with that. If Lord Golden Phoenix is angry, the consequences will be uncontrollable. Mu Sha glared at the blacksmith and said. Why are you glaring at me? I'm just a blacksmith. I can do whatever I want. Tell the higher-ups to punish me? Do assassins have no principles? The blacksmith looked at Mu Sha and said. Bastard, luckily you're the one who informed us. Otherwise, if something happened, we wouldn't be able to escape. Lord Golden Phoenix. She's a big shot who has killed countless venerables. We're just ants in front of her. Mu Sha said with some emotion. Is she very famous? The other middle-aged man asked. She's very strong. You can say that she's the pride of the Eastern Shen region. Although I'm not from the Eastern Shen region, I still admire her. Even the top members of our assassin hall have been defeated by her. Many years ago, she also defeated the high-level venerables of the other regions in the domain war and established herself as an invincible venerable. She also protected the peace of the Eastern Shen region, said Mu Sha. According to what you said, she's not just talking about going to the 9 regions and 18 states to destroy our Hall of Assassins. Sister Luo said with some surprise. Isn't that nonsense? She doesn't have the confidence to destroy our reputation. We'll know when the news comes. The headquarters will definitely give in. Mu Sha said with a bitter smile. Chapter 439. A genius remembers love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That's right. We've really gone too far this time. Some people are taboo. Our assassination hall doesn't have the upper hand when it comes to individual battle prowess. We're even worse off when it comes to the power behind us. Mu Sha opened his mouth and said. That's right, Mu Sha said. They even accepted the mission to kill a child. I wonder which brainless person decided to accept the mission. The blacksmith snorted coldly because he was very dissatisfied. Blacksmith, I still don't understand. What does that little guy have to do with you? Mu Sha was a little puzzled. How did Blacksmith get involved in this matter? We've seen him twice. We've been looking for materials to forge the sky-piercing spear for many years, and the blacksmith only gave him 12 spears. Sir, do you think the blacksmith likes him? Sister Luo glanced at the blacksmith and asked. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs. Come, blacksmith, I won't argue with you this time. But if something like this happens again in the future, I'll definitely teach you a lesson. Isn't it better to discuss things with everyone? The problem has to be solved from the root. Can you solve the problem by leaking information? Find someone to fix this place, you bastard. Mu Sha glared at the blacksmith again, then left in a flash. He planned to personally report this matter to the headquarters. That damn fatty, at least he's done something this time, the blacksmith said as he looked in the direction that Musha had left. Big brother, the one with the bounty on his head is the child you sent the sky-piercing spear to? Another middle-aged man asked. Love gon little sake big brother, I didn't make a mistake. Back then he was just a little fellow who had just entered the second order. What about now? Second grade void inquiry stage. Ah. The blacksmith's face was filled with pride. Second grade of the void inquiry stage? I remember it was only 2 years ago when we first met him, right? Sister Luo's eyes were filled with shock. That's right. He's definitely a good seedling for our Eastern Xian region. So, even if we have to violate the rules, we can't let people from other regions kill him. The blacksmith nodded. All right. At that time, I was dissatisfied with Big Brother giving away the sky-piercing spear. However, after killing the evil flood dragon, the sky-piercing spear was no longer important to us. The middle-aged man looked at the blacksmith and said, Yes, each of us only needs 2 sky-piercing spears to protect ourselves. Why do we need so many? Come, there's still a jar of good wine here. Let's drink it and then find someone to repair this place. I have to say, the master of Tianji Tower is really awesome. The blacksmith took out a jar of Qingluo leopard bone wine given to him by Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow, who was practicing his spear arts in the mansion, suddenly stopped. This was because he saw Wu Lingfei, who was wearing a golden mask, a tight skirt and a gauze robe. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.ichuxs.com Auntie Fei, why are you here? Knight Sorrow greeted her. Bring me in. Wu Lingfei raised her chin and pointed at Knight Sorrow's loft. Knight Sorrow brought Wu Lingfei into the study room that he rarely entered. Then he took out a tea set and brewed a pot of tea for Wu Lingfei. Your mansion is not bad. The scenery and style are all okay, Wu Lingfei said after taking off her mask and taking a sip of tea. There are extra lofts here. Auntie Fei can live and cultivate here, Knight Sorrow said. Thinking about it, Auntie Fei is really not as good as you. Because in Dongxian City, I can only go to the Tianji Tower and the City Lord's mansion. I don't have a place to stay. Wu Lingfei suddenly sighed. Auntie Fei, actually, a home is only a place where there are relatives. A home is not an empty house. I will tidy up the innermost and quiet loft for you in a moment, Yishang said. After the 3 mansions were connected, the craftsman built a viewing tower in the innermost part of the mansion on the left, which was a little far from Knight Sorrow's. The loft was shrouded in green bamboo, and the scenery and style were not bad. Okay, but Auntie Fei likes to be quiet. Don't let others near that place. Also, when Auntie Fei cultivates, sometimes it will cause the laws to vibrate and hurt people. Wu Lingfei nodded after thinking for a while. Then I will take Auntie Fei there. Knight Sorrow stood up and said. Knight Sorrow took Wu Lingfei to the viewing tower and helped her settle down. There's one more thing. Your girlfriend's water attribute isn't normal. She has the sky blue water and the black profound water. She has the sky blue water attribute. This kind of extreme water attribute is very rare. It can even be said that it won't be suppressed by 4 high-level attributes. She might not have noticed it yet. Wu Lingfei said. She was referring to Sikong Chuyu. Auntie Fei, you know that I don't know much about these things. When I have time, I will ask Chuyu to come and ask Auntie Fei for advice. Knight Sorrow said, a little embarrassed. Indeed, telling you this is a waste of time. Let her come over at night. Auntie Fei will tell her that this kind of potential is very rare and cannot be buried. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. She suddenly felt that she had treated Knight Sorrow as a cultivator for many years. In fact, Knight Sorrow was just a child. Could be said that he was a cultivation newbie. Why did Auntie Fei come to Dongxian City? Is there any progress in breaking through? Knight Sorrow asked. 0 positive. Version B** release, almost there but there is no rush. Who knows, maybe a flash of inspiration will be enough. Why did you come? You have a bounty on your head. How can Auntie Fei not come and take a look? Wu Lingfei said. They won't send a venerable to kill me. Other ranks, even late 5th order, I still have a chance to escape. Knight Sorrow said. Auntie Fei has already dealt with this matter. The Eastern Xian region branch of the Assassination Hall will report to the higher-ups and resolve this matter. However, there is a time difference. In other words, by the time they report, the assassins might have already been dispatched. Wu Lingfei said. In fact, this was the main reason why she had stayed in Knight Sorrow's residence. I've made Auntie Fei worry again. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. It's fine. You go do your thing. Just let your girlfriend come and find Auntie Fei. Wu Lingfei nodded at Knight Sorrow. When Night Sorrow arrived at Sikongchuyu's pavilion, he saw Sikongchuyu and Yang Lei sitting together, studying something. The two women didn't notice Night Sorrow's arrival and continued to read. Night Sorrow walked over and saw what the two women were reading. It was the harmony cultivation technique he had obtained while completing a mission. Back then, Night Sorrow had obtained the harmony cultivation technique after killing two women who plucked yin to supplement yang. At that time he had given it to Yang Lei. "You're reading this too?" Night Sorrow asked after sitting down. "Why did you sneak in here?" Yang Lei embarrassedly put the ancient book into her storage ring. "I swaggered in. You two were too engrossed and didn't see me," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "Night Sorrow, don't think too much. This ancient book is good for the three of us." Back then those two women walked the crooked path. Yang Lei explained with a red face. Chapter 440. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with interesting novels to read. After asking Sikongchuyu to meet Wu Ling Fei, Night Sorrow informed everyone in the mansion that the small bamboo forest and the viewing tower at the northwest corner of the mansion were forbidden from entering. Even though everyone did not understand why Night Sorrow would give such a notice, they knew that there was a reason behind it. After informing everyone, Night Sorrow returned to his secret cultivation room. He took out the ice spirit blood essence and soul crystals and began to cultivate. In the next few days, Yishan steadily increased his cultivation. He didn't know that a great storm had occurred in Dongshan City. No one had ever dared to provoke the Deathly Hall, but now someone had destroyed their facade. This was a strange story. Soon after, a few foolish cultivators who did not know what was going on went to the entrance of the assassination hall and pointed at them. In the end, they ended up in a miserable state. They were directly crippled and hung in front of the pavilion that was being renovated. This also let all the cultivators know that no matter what the assassination hall had experienced, they still could not be provoked casually. Night Sorrow's cultivation base increased at a relatively slow pace even though he used the spiritual origin liquid. It was because the amount of energy needed to advance to the void inquiry stage was really too much. On this day, after finishing dinner and everyone went to cultivate, Night Sorrow went to the small training ground in front of the main building to practice his spear techniques. After cultivating for a while, just as Night Sorrow was about to go to the secret cultivation room to cultivate his foundation, he felt a chill on his body. He had a feeling that he was being stared at by a poisonous snake. Turning his head to look, Night Sorrow saw a masked man in the shadow of the garden. At this moment, the masked man who knew that Night Sorrow had discovered him walked out from the shadow. Without saying anything, he shook his arm and brandished his sword, sending out a ray of sword light towards Night Sorrow. Looking at the 4 chi-long sword light flying towards him, Night Sorrow took a step diagonally and dashed forward. He shook his reincarnation spear and executed the 7 stars dazzling moon spear. The 5 spears merged into one and pierced towards the masked man. Seeing Night Sorrow attack, the masked man's body flashed and he continued to attack Night Sorrow with his sword. The position of his sword was very tricky. It was aimed at Night Sorrow's ribs, which would be the heart. He didn't fight head-on, nor did he fight head-on. Instead he pursued a one-hit kill. Night Sorrow immediately understood what was going on with this masked man. He was an assassin on a mission. Although he could not see through his opponent's cultivation base, Night Sorrow was not afraid. This was the kind of battle he wanted. Only a battle of life and death like this could increase his combat power and stimulate his potential. His opponent's attacks were tricky. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear was the opposite of his opponent's. This was also Night Sorrow's confidence in the strength of his attacks. The masked man's dodging and attacking speed were both very fast. He did not fight Night Sorrow head-on and instead wandered around looking for Night Sorrow's flaws. However, Night Sorrow's current spear art was not perfect, but it was very skillful. With the addition of the soaring dragon steps, there were no flaws. After circling around a few times, the masked man discovered that Night Sorrow's defense was unbreakable. He changed his approach and drew a semicircle with his sword before thrusting forward. Since he could not find any flaws in Night Sorrow's defense, he planned to create a flaw for Night Sorrow himself. He and Night Sorrow did not notice that at this moment at the top of the main building where Night Sorrow lived, Wu Ling Fei, who was wearing a white dress, was standing in the air with her hands behind her back. She was watching the battle between Night Sorrow and the masked man. Ding! With a crisp sound, Night Sorrow was pushed back. His opponent's cultivation base was much higher than his, and his true chi was much more abundant. On the other hand, the masked man's energy was like a needle, piercing towards Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Only when the reincarnation spear was more than halfway through, Did Night Sorrow's true chi dissipated? After Night Sorrow was pushed back, his opponent also felt uncomfortable. Night Sorrow's spiraling energy penetrated into his opponent's sword. After being pushed back, Night Sorrow stomped his feet and dashed forward. His true chi needed time to slow down and buffer. However, Night Sorrow had the energy of the Myriad Dao treasure book. When he dashed forward, the energy in his body followed along. Seeing Night Sorrow dashing towards him, the masked man was stunned for a moment. Then he casually waved his sword towards Night Sorrow. Even though he lost to Night Sorrow in terms of energy exertion, he understood that Night Sorrow would not have it easy either. After all, his cultivation base was 4 levels higher than Night Sorrow's. He was already at the 5th level of the Void Inquiry stage. Their weapons clashed. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear released a strong vibration force. After that, the two of them separated again. This time, Night Sorrow gained the upper hand. The energy of his Myriad Dao treasure book and the strength of his body surpassed the strength of the true chi that the masked man hurriedly gathered. In addition, the vibration force also dispersed the impact of his opponent's energy exertion technique. After gaining the upper hand in one move, Night Sorrow swung his reincarnation spear and chased after his opponent. After every clash, his opponent's true chi needed a buffer. Even though the buffer time was very short, Night Sorrow did not need it. His true chi and the energy of the Myriad Dao treasure book alternately attacked. In terms of speed, he was much faster than his opponent. Seeing Night Sorrow dashing towards him again, the masked man let out a low roar. He stomped his feet and his body moved swiftly. Since he could not gain the upper hand in a head-on clash, he began to move around. At this moment, Night Sorrow was chasing after the masked man. However, Night Sorrow's speed was still slower than his opponent's. Night Sorrow also used the energy of the Myriad Dao treasure book to increase his speed. However, the masked man's movement technique was very agile. He could not stop him. "I will kill you another day. Your life is mine." When he saw Hou Jian and the others as well as the Bloodstrike guards, rushing towards the training ground, the masked man's feet trembled and his body soared into the air. "If you want to fight, I can watch. However, you can't run." Wu Lingfei waved her arm and a large energy hand grabbed the masked man. 9. Look at the authentic version. Chapter F. Above, who are you? How dare you interfere with the matters of the assassination hall? You are courting death. The masked man roared at Wu Lingfei. Even your hall master would not speak to me like this. Killing you here will only dirty the mansion. Go outside and die. Wu Lingfei snorted and the energy hand flew towards the sky outside the mansion. When it reached the outside, the energy hand squeezed and the masked man turned into a bloody mist. Then a storage ring flew back to the mansion and fell in front of Night Sorrow. Then Wu Lingfei's figure disappeared. At this time, Hou Jian and the others arrived at Night Sorrow's side. They only saw the energy hand and did not see Wu Lingfei. "Captain, what happened?" Hou Jian asked when he arrived at Night Sorrow's side. "An assassin came to kill me but he was killed," Night Sorrow said as he held the storage ring. "Someone came to kill you? Are they tired of living? Captain, do you have any clues?" "Let's go and destroy them," Xueling said angrily. "This is really unfair. Someone placed a bounty on the assassination hall. I can only be careful. It won't be easy to completely destroy them," Night Sorrow said. "The assassination hall? A few days ago the assassination hall's front was destroyed. How dare they do this now?" Hou Jian said. "The assassination hall's front was destroyed? Who could be so cruel?" Nan Liyue asked. "I don't know." The assassination hall did not respond. However, a few unlucky people who mocked the assassination hall were killed, Lei Bao said. Chapter 441. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by shao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. When did this happen? Night Sorrow asked as he glanced at the loft where Wu Lingfei was resting. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.ichuxs. Hou Jian and Lei Bao told him what they knew. After listening to Hou Jian and Lei Bao, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and understood that this was probably Wu Lingfei's doing. "Captain, you still have time to think about this? The assassin hall will assassinate you 3 times, each time more ruthless than the last. If they fail 3 times they will give up. You have to think about the next 2 attempts, Hou Jian said anxiously. "It's fine. Let them come and kill me. This is also a test for me. You guys go rest," Night Sorrow said to the anxious Hou Jian and the others. Then he nodded at Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu, who looked somewhat uneasy. Love Goi Shao Shua W. Chu. After reminding Night Sorrow to be careful, Hou Jian and the others and the Bloodstrike guards went back to rest and cultivate. Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu went to the living room of the main building. 13, are you okay? Yang Lei asked. I'm fine. That guy can't kill me. Auntie Fei crushed him to death when he tried to escape, Night Sorrow said. Don't go out so often. After all, the risk is still very high, Sikong Chuyu said. Chuyu, do you think I should hide and not go out just because someone wants to kill me? I want to see if they can kill me. I also want to see if I can withstand their assassination attempts, Night Sorrow said. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu didn't say anything. They knew that this was Night Sorrow's personality. If they wanted Night Sorrow to be a coward, they might as well kill Night Sorrow. Chuyu, what did Auntie Fei say about your situation? Night Sorrow changed the topic. Auntie Fei gave me some pointers on the direction of my cultivation. The effects are very strong. Although I have not yet stimulated the sky blue water attribute, it is definitely not a problem. In the past, I always felt that I could not exert my strength. Now, I understand that what I have cultivated and grasped is only the tip of the iceberg of my potential, Sikong Chuyu said. That's good. Attributes are also an important factor in determining success, Night Sorrow said. According to the current progress, I should be able to activate it very soon. Sikong Chuyu was indeed very happy. This was because in the history of her family, the sky blue water attribute had appeared. That ancestor who had the sky blue water had dominated an era. After that, Night Sorrow sent the two girls to rest. When Night Sorrow wanted to go to Sikong Chuyu's room, he was kicked out. Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei were still cultivating the fusion technique. They had not completely succeeded. After leaving Sikong Chuyu's room, Night Sorrow went to Wu Lingfei's room. Standing in front of the room, Night Sorrow thought about it and felt that it was the same whether he went in or not. The assassination hall should be Wu Lingfei's doing. You're here. Come in. Wu Lingfei's voice reached Night Sorrow's ears. Night Sorrow turned around and walked into the room. In the living room of the room, Night Sorrow saw Wu Lingfei sitting quietly. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs.com_w, original T first XD Aunt Fei. After entering the living room, Night Sorrow greeted her. Have a seat. Aunt Fei usually sits quietly, so there is no tea for you. Wu Ling concubine pointed to the chair across from her. Night Sorrow smiled and took out a tea set. He went out of the attic to fetch some water and brewed a pot of tea. Aunt Fei, were you the one who tore down the Deathly Hall? After brewing the tea, Yi Shang hesitated for a moment before asking the question in his heart. They wanted to kill you. I was angry, so I tore down the front of the assassination hall. I didn't kill them because one of them told you. I didn't want to kill innocent people, said Wu Lingfei. Auntie Fei, this won't cause any trouble, right? Just like Tianji Tower, the Deathly Hall is a force that belongs to the 9 realms and 18 states, Night Sorrow said worriedly. So what? Aunt Fei said that if I don't let the Hall of Extermination gain a foothold in the eastern Xian region, they will have to scram, said Wu Lingfei. Many thanks, Aunt Fei. Night Sorrow took the teapot and brewed a pot of tea for Wu Lingfei. Don't be so polite with Aunt Fei. You helped Aunt Fei even more, said Wu Lingfei as she took the teacup. Then I won't be so polite with Aunt Fei in the future, said Night Sorrow. Aunt Fei gave the Hall of Extermination a warning. They will revoke the bounty on you. After all, your status in Tianji Tower and the City Lord's mansion makes it difficult to assassinate you, said Wu Lingfei. Maybe they don't know about this. Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. Yes. In the 9 realms and 18 states, the Royal City, City Lord's mansion, and Tianji Tower are places that others cannot easily reach out and touch. Therefore, the Hall of Extermination doesn't know about your situation in Tianji Tower and the City Lord's mansion. It's not that they can't find out, but they didn't investigate because they don't want to offend the City Lord's mansion and Tianji Tower, said Wu Lingfei as she took a sip of tea. So they won't accept this mission? Asked Night Sorrow. How should I put it? That's not it. The Assassin Hall has 2 types of rewards. One is an open reward, and the other is a dark reward. The assassination this time was an open reward, which means that the Assassin Hall gave the mission directly to the Assassin Hall. The other type is a dark reward, which means that the Assassin Hall only receives a third of the reward. The Assassin Hall doesn't care who receives the mission, said Wu Lingfei. I understand. In other words, even if the Hall of Extermination doesn't accept my bounty, they can still assassinate me in the form of dark red. Night Sorrow understood what Wu Lingfei meant. Even if she could influence the open reward, the Hall of Extermination still had the possibility of dark red. So this time, Aunt Fei wants the Hall of Extermination to send over the information of the person who issued the mission. Otherwise, we will remove the Hall of Extermination from the Eastern Xian region, said Wu Lingfei. Is that appropriate? Aunt Fei, please don't cause any trouble because of me. Night Sorrow was a little worried because Wu Lingfei was challenging the Hall of Extermination. Don't worry. Aunt Fei knows what to do. This is our territory. Why would we need to care about other people's opinions in our territory? Wu Lingfei smiled confidently. All right. I also need to learn this kind of domineering aura from Aunt Fei, said Night Sorrow looking at Wu Lingfei. Then Aunt Fei will tell you. In this world, the strong are respected. Principles and rules are just empty words. The strong fist is the true reason. Rules are made by the strong and are also broken by the strong. Whoever has the strength is the boss, said Wu Lingfei. I will do my best. Night Sorrow nodded. Aunt Fei believes that you can do it. It's just a matter of time. Aunt Fei also hopes that the Eastern Xian region will have an expert rise. One person really can't bear it alone. If something happens to Aunt Fei, the Eastern Xian region will fall to the point where it will be trampled by other regions. Many forces will go to other regions to fight for territory when they don't have much space to develop in their own region. Killing will be happening all the time, said Wu Lingfei with a sigh. There is such a thing? I really didn't know about it, said Night Sorrow. Chapter 442. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? I'll provide you with a wonderful novel to read. Night Sorrow's heart was greatly shaken. He hadn't expected the Three Origin region to be occupied by the Qingtian region and become a subsidiary region. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. They attacked our Eastern Xian region before. At that time, the Qingtian region joined forces with the Taiyue region to wage a war on our Eastern Xian region. We lost 5 supremacies in that battle, but Auntie Fei killed even more and defeated the 2 region lords. The price was that Auntie Fei was also heavily injured. This is also the reason why Auntie Fei is cultivating in the Eastern Snow Mountain. Although it's called cultivation, most of the time it's to heal. Wu Lingfei sighed. Is Auntie Fei all right now? Night Sorrow asked. Yes. You helped Auntie Fei obtain so many ice spirit blood essences. The problem has long been solved. What Auntie Fei should do now is to kill those 2 shameless bastards from the Qingtian region and Taiyue region. They shouldn't be able to recover as quickly as Auntie Fei, Wu Lingfei said with narrowed eyes. Auntie Fei, that's a bit risky. But with my current cultivation I can't help much, Night Sorrow said in a low voice. There's no need to rush. After learning from the water attribute destiny stone you gave me, Auntie Fei has a better grasp of things. With this grasp I can pursue a higher level. There's no need to rush to deal with them, Wu Lingfei said. Auntie Fei, do you need the life crystals? They're not very useful to me, Night Sorrow said. Knowing that the Sikong Chuyu's attribute path was the sky blue water attribute, Night Sorrow didn't have much use for the life crystals. Alright. Auntie Fei doesn't need to be polite with you. Wu Lingfei nodded. Night Sorrow took out half of the life crystals and piled them up in the room. So many? Wu Lingfei was a bit dumbfounded at the sight of so many life crystals. These were all left behind by the life saintess who wanted to possess me, Night Sorrow said. Then Auntie Concubine will stay. Previously, Auntie Concubine didn't want to use the life crystals, so she planned to rely on herself to find the bottleneck. Now, even if I waste a little bit, I can absorb the weak power of law in the life crystals and break through. Wu Lingfei said excitedly. Here's more life essence. Night Sorrow took out 2 more jade bottles and gave them to Wu Lingfei. Night Sorrow, half of Auntie Fei's future achievements come from you. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and said. Auntie Fei's words are too serious. Then Auntie Fei should cultivate first. I will go back and cultivate. Night Sorrow said. Okay. Also, go to the City Lord's mansion and inform Elder Kuan Nan that he has something to report to your mansion. As for Qinji Tower, you can also inform Yin Shui or Ho Yuan, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. I will do it tomorrow. Night Sorrow got up and nodded. Also, don't leave the mansion for the time being. After all, the matter with Death Hall hasn't been settled yet. Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow nodded and left Wu Lingfei's place to cultivate. Returning to his secret cultivation room, he took out the soul crystals and ice spirit blood essence and started cultivating. Night Sorrow didn't care about the assassination attempt from Death Hall. Not to mention early 5th Order, even mid-5th Order, Night Sorrow had the strength to fight. Although Night Sorrow couldn't win against late 5th Order, he could still escape. As for Venerables, the chances of them coming after him were slim. Even if they came, they wouldn't be able to get past Wu Lingfei. After cultivating for a night, Knight Sorrow went to the City Lord's mansion and Tianji Tower to tell Xuanhuan and Yin Shui about Wu Lingfei's situation in his mansion. After walking around and returning to his residence, Knight Sorrow played with Tianyu and the silver fox cub for a while before continuing to cultivate. His true qi cultivation was still far from advancing, but his myriad Daos tome cultivation wasn't far from the 8th level of the consolidation realm. While Yi Shang was cultivating, Mu Sha was reporting the situation to an old man in a secluded courtyard in the sky-bearing city of the sky-bearing region. Golden Phoenix? Something is wrong. Come with me to report this to the other elders and vice hall masters, the old man said solemnly after listening to Mu Sha's report. Then, under the guidance of the white-robed old man, the two went through a few streets and 2 secret passages. After going through several checks, they entered a small underground palace. Elder Jean, what's going on? A middle-aged man in a black robe asked. Second Elder, Mu Sha has returned from the eastern Xian region. He has something to report to the headquarters, so I brought him here. The situation is very serious, so it's best to report it to the hall master and vice hall master, Zhang Yuqing said. She was the elder who brought Mu Sha here. The hall master is in seclusion. Let's invite the vice hall master. The middle-aged man in the black robe said. He was the second elder of the assassination hall, Mu Yuenting. Then, under Mu Yuenting's summons, a few old men and a woman in a white robe and a butterfly mask gathered in the underground palace. When the woman appeared, everyone bowed to greet her. She was the vice hall master of the assassination hall, Swallowtail Butterfly. This was her code name and she was currently in charge of everything in the assassination hall. Then Mu Sha reported about the destruction of the eastern Xian region branch. Hearing that, Swallowtail Butterfly, who was in a white robe, emitted a murderous aura. The murderous aura caused everyone's expression to change drastically. Go on. Swallowtail Butterfly's voice was emotionless. The person who did this is the branch master of the Tianji Tower in the eastern Xian region. She asked me to bring her name to the headquarters, and also asked them to give her the information of the person who killed Knight Sorrow. Mu Sha bowed and said, How audacious. She's really arrogant. She dared to leave her name after destroying our branch. This is a slap to the face of our assassination hall. How can a branch master of the Tianji Tower be so arrogant? What's her name? Swallowtail Butterfly stood up and said, In the 9 regions and 18 states, the assassination hall was not as powerful as the royal city of each region. First of all, the royal city of each region was the local tyrant. They had been operating for countless years. Unless there was a regional war, other forces would not be able to touch the royal city. The royal city's forces were undoubtedly powerful. Almost all the venerables of each region would be under the control of the city lord's office. Other than the royal city's forces, only the Tianji Tower was powerful. However, the Tianji Tower would not provoke the assassination hall for no reason. The assassination hall had been around for countless years. The quantity and quality of the assassins under their command were indisputable. If the Tianji Tower made things difficult for the assassination hall would not be able to withstand it. However, if the assassination hall retaliated, the Tianji Tower would not have an easy time either. This was something everyone knew. Under such circumstances, the destruction of the assassination hall's branch was a big deal. This was a slap to the face and it was also a declaration of war. That's right. Even the royal city's forces have to give face to the assassination hall. Is a branch master of the Tianji Tower going to start a war? An old man said. This old man was the great elder of the assassination hall, Wu Tianhe. Chapter 443. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. What did you say? Her name is Golden Phoenix? Wu Tianhe stood up in shock. Yes, she said her name is Golden Phoenix. If we don't give her an explanation, she will travel all over the 9 regions and 18 states and wipe out all of our branches, Mu Sha said. Silence. The hall was dead silent. This mission is really... Wu Tianhe sighed. Second Elder, bring us all the details of this mission. Let's analyze it and see what's going on, Swallowtail Butterfly said. If it's true, then we've really gotten ourselves into big trouble. If others say that, then it's just bullshit or a threat, but Lord Golden Phoenix's words are absolutely true. If we don't appease her anger, then our branch of the assassination hall will definitely suffer, said Wu Tianhe. I understand. We can only accept our bad luck for provoking her. If she gets angry, the entire eastern Xian region will become a forbidden area for our assassin hall, said the snow-tailed butterfly. There was anger in her voice, but she did not explode. After a while, Zhang Yuqing came with a document. The next chieftain is anonymous. but according to our investigation, he's Jianghu from the Jianghu clan. The Jianghu clan is digging a hole for us. Can't they kill someone? Wu Tianhe said angrily. Digging a hole for us? Then we won't hold back. Second Elder, you and Mu Sha go to the eastern Shen region and deal with this matter. Since the Jianghu clan brought this trouble to us, we'll return the favor. We can't afford to offend Lord Golden Phoenix, so let them. Also, investigate everything about Night Sorrow. Even if he doesn't have any scars, find out everything about him, Swallowtail Butterfly said coldly. There's also some news. The Guardian Elder of the Eastern Shen City has also found me and said that Night Sorrow is from the City Lord Mansion, Mu Sha said. This hole is really deep. Investigate. Investigate both sides. We must get to the bottom of this, Swallowtail Butterfly ordered again. On Night Sorrow's side, he cultivated steadily every day. His cultivation of the Myriad Dao Tome had smoothly entered level 8 of the Consolidation Realm. His soul power had also improved significantly. Although it was still a long way from liquefying, it was still several times stronger than when he had just opened up his deity sea. Right now there was no one to practice with Night Sorrow. Ho Jin and the others weren't willing, and neither were the members of the Bloodstrike Guard. Night Sorrow only focused on his spear arts and footwork. On the other hand, Xianyu and Silver Fox's cultivation improved very quickly. Xianyu's cultivation had already entered the 4th order, level 9, and Silver Fox's cultivation had reached the 3rd order. Ho Jian and the others, in addition to cultivating their true qi every day, would also be sparring. They would also help Yang Lei instruct the disciples under her sect in their cultivation. Qin Jin was very hard-working in his cultivation. He spent almost all of his time in cultivation. Usually when he saw him, he was also practicing his swordsmanship. A few days later, Silver Snow arrived at Night Sorrow's residence. Night Sorrow brought him to the main building's living room and served him tea. It's like this. The people from the Assassination Hall's headquarters are here. They want to see the K-Master. Night Sorrow, can you inform the K-Master? Silver Snow asked. I'm here. At that moment, Wu Lingfei, who was wearing a golden mask, entered the living room. Greetings, Your Excellency. Silver Snow stood up and cupped his hands in greeting. I don't want to see them. Go tell them that they must hand over the information of the next K-Master. If they can't, then I'll keep my word. Wu Lingfei sat down and said, the information is here. They have already expressed their apologies and hope that Your Excellency can forgive their mistake. Love Gong Little say, at the same time he placed a few pieces of paper on the tea table in front of Wu Lingfei. Go back and tell them that this matter is over. Also, tell them that Night Sorrow is a core member of the Tianji Tower's headquarters. Also, tell them whether they want to accept the reward or not. Also, tell them that Night Sorrow is still a member of the City Lord's mansion. Wu Lingfei said. I'll do it right away. Silver Snow stood up and said. Then go. Wu Lingfei waved her hand. Night Sorrow sent Silver Snow out of Qingxing Cottage. At the same time he asked about the situation at Broken Cloud Mountain. It's still the same. Our advantage has been taken away. Dark spiritual corpses often attack together at the spatial passage. They come out from inside and sneak attack one person. It's very difficult to deal with them, so our venerables can't guard the spatial passage. Silver Snow explained the situation to Night Sorrow. If we don't guard the spatial passage, won't we return to the same situation as before? Night Sorrow said with a frown. Yes, there's nothing we can do about it. The nature of the spatial passage is too disgusting. Dark spiritual corpses also appear at the Island of Darkness. However, the situation there is still manageable. They can't run back once they come out, so as long as they appear they will be killed. Silver Snow was helpless. The dark creatures in the death space were not only strong in terms of quality, but also in terms of quantity. I understand. I'll talk to Aunt Fei later and see if there's any way. Night Sorrow nodded to Silver Snow. Silver Snow was stunned for a moment, then left. He was stunned because of the way Night Sorrow addressed him. After leaving, Silver Snow knew that Night Sorrow's position in Wu Lingfei's eyes had already surpassed the higher-ups of Tianji Tower. First of all, her attitude towards him was different. After returning to the mansion, Night Sorrow sat opposite Wu Lingfei. Wu Lingfei was looking at the information sent by the Assassination Hall. Take a look. It's someone from the Qingtian Domain's Jianghu family. Wu Lingfei threw the information in front of Night Sorrow. After taking a look at the information, Yishang calmed himself down and let out a sigh of relief. Just as he had expected, it really was someone from Jianghu's family. Moreover, it was that shameless Jianghu who wanted to marry into the Xikong family. What do you think? Wu Lingfei took a sip of tea and asked. Nothing. With or without this bounty mission, I'm not done with the Jianghu family. Father Gu, who adopted me, had his arm chopped off by a disciple of the Jianghu family. I won't give up. Knight Sorrow said. Then bear with it. The Eastern Shen domain is chaotic. You have to improve your strength in this situation. Anyway, the Jianghu family is there. They can't run away. Wu Lingfei said. Don't worry, Aunt Fei. I'm not an impulsive person. I won't be rash before I'm strong enough. Knight Sorrow folded the information and put it away. Good. In fact, you're not the only one who has a grudge against them. When the Qingtian domain and Taiwa domain joined forces to attack our Eastern Shen domain, the Qingtian domain was the main force. Jianghu family also had a part in it. Therefore, you're not the only one who wants to deal with them. I also want to deal with them. Wu Lingfei stood up and said. I know. So, whether it's for public or private reasons, I want to deal with the Jianghu family. Knight Sorrow said. First published in AA. Chapter 444. Geniuses remember love in 1 second go? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Yes, I would like to know what you think, Aunt Fei, Knight Sorrow said. In the past, Knight Sorrow would have thought that Wu Lingfei's opinion was a good way to solve the problem. Now, however, he knew that Wu Lingfei's opinion could determine the direction of the situation. Aunt Fei doesn't want to take action yet. This is a training exercise for the Eastern Shen region. You might think it's cruel, but it's not good to rely on one person to solve everything. The Eastern Shen region can't rely on one person. Perhaps some experiences will allow a cultivator to grow, Wu Lingfei said. I understand what Aunt Fei means. I plan to take them to participate in the battle. Everyone needs to train, Knight Sorrow said. Go if you want to, but be careful. A battle isn't just a battle of the body. Smart people fight with their brains. Bravery doesn't equate to recklessness, Wu Lingfei said to Knight Sorrow. Don't worry, Aunt Fei. I'm not stupid. Knight Sorrow nodded. Go. It's easier for your girlfriend to stimulate the attributes of the sky blue water after training. Wu Lingfei glanced at Xikong Chiyu's loft and left. After a night of cultivation, Knight Sorrow got up and gathered the Blood Strike Guards, Ho Jian and the others. The battle at Broken Cloud Mountain of Star Cloud Sect is still very intense. I plan to take everyone there to fight. We can contribute to the Eastern Shen region and improve our cultivation through actual combat. What do you all think? Knight Sorrow said. We'll follow Captain's orders, the Blood Strike Guards shouted. We don't have any problems either, Ho Jian and the others replied loudly. How about this? Xueling, you'll first integrate Ho Qingjian into the Blood-Robed Guard. Let him get used to the rhythm of battle. Ho Jian, you'll integrate Qingjia into the Empyrean Terminus Tower team. Knight Sorrow made arrangements for Ho Qingjia and Qin Zhen. Yes. Xueling bowed. The members of the Blood Strike Guard were all arrogant. If an ordinary person had wanted to join them, they would have definitely rejected them. However, Qin Zhen's hard work in cultivation and his actual combat prowess had won their approval, so they had long since gotten along well with him. That's good. Get ready. We'll set off in half a cup of tea's time. Knight Sorrow dismissed the assembled crowd. On the other side, Yang Lei and Xikong Chiyu also packed up and brought some daily necessities. Then the group gathered together again. Get on your mounts and set off. Knight Sorrow summoned Qianyu and got on Qianyu's back with Silver Fox. They then flew towards the teleportation circle. Knight Sorrow paid the spiritual stones and let the people behind him teleport to Nebula Sect in several batches. Then he put away Qianyu and Silver Fox, followed by Yang Lei and Xikong Chiyu, who had also put away their mounts, and entered the teleportation circle to Nebula Sect. Using the teleportation circle, one could not recall their mounts, but they had to pay spiritual stones. Therefore, no one would be stupid enough to not recall their mounts into the beast-taming space and spend more spiritual stones. After exiting the teleportation circle, Knight Sorrow saw a group of people waiting for him. They had all released their mounts and were ready to set off. Waving his arm, Knight Sorrow led the group and flew towards Broken Cloud Mountain. Ho Jian were Tianji Tower's team. Pay more attention, Knight Sorrow said to Ho Jian. Now the team under Tianji Tower had increased again. Knight Sorrow, Yang Lei, Xikong Chiyu, Ho Jian, Ho Qingjia, Lei Bao, Lei Zheng and Nan Liyue. There were now 8 of them. Also, because they had been living together with the 30 members of the Blood Strike Guard, there was no need to hide their identities. There was no point in doing so. The most important reason was that the brothers of the Blood Strike Guard were absolutely reliable. As for Qin Zhen, he was currently not qualified to join Tianji Tower. Knight Sorrow could only let him join the Blood Strike Guard. Qin Zhen, your mount is not bad, Xueling said as he looked at Qin Zhen's Tiger Eagle. Brother 13 gave it to me, Qin said. Qin had been cultivating with the members of the Blood Strike Guard during this period of time. He had become more talkative and his personality had changed. All right. Captain is really awesome. That black-feathered eagle was tamed right under our noses, Xueling said with some emotion. Don't worry. If there's a suitable one, I'll give it to you, Night Sorrow said. That's right. Captain's Xianyu is at the peak of the 4th rank. He's not an adult yet. Even if you catch a good mount, you don't need to change it, Xuefei said. More new? Hurry up and get on O2. Night Sorrow reached out and touched Xianyu's neck. Of course it's good to have a mount with a high cultivation level. However, to me Xianyu is not just a mount. He's a battle partner and a brother. No matter what his cultivation level is, I won't change him for the rest of my life. When I was in the Qi refinement stage he fought with me. If it wasn't for him, I might have died a few times. Night Sorrow remembered very clearly that if it wasn't for Xianyu, he wouldn't have been able to climb up the cliff behind the bamboo forest peak. He would have died of hunger and thirst down there. During the battle with the Green Water sect, if Xianyu hadn't been fast enough, he would have been killed by the people of the Green Water sect. Night Sorrow had always remembered these things. We understand how you feel, Captain, Xueling said. My and Xianyu's situations are not suitable for you. If you have a good mount, you should change it. You can't say that changing mounts is unkind or unjust. You can let your old mounts retire or set them free. Those are all good choices. My 9th senior sister's mount is now in the Medicine Valley's Taishin Peak for retirement, Night Sorrow said. Time passed unknowingly as they hurried along while chatting. In the evening, the group of people arrived at the camp of the Xian Domain's human cultivators in Yunduan, Shandong. Night Sorrow didn't let Ho Jian and the others wear masks. This time they weren't participating in the battle as members of Tianji Tower. After looking at the camp, Night Sorrow was stunned. He saw Gong Xian, some elite disciples of the Medicine Valley, and members of other sections. This made Night Sorrow realize that the 7 superpowers of the Eastern Xian domain had come to participate in the battle against the dark creatures. 9th junior sister, 13 Chuyu, you're all here. Gong Xian greeted Night Sorrow, Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu. Eldest senior brother, 11th senior brother, Sister Lingfei, you're all here too, Night Sorrow said as he looked at Mo Chen and Chu Lingfei who were beside Gong Xian. Yes, the situation here is more serious. Master wants me to bring people over to provide support, Gong Xian said. You guys go to your sects and say hello. Gather here tomorrow morning for the battle, Night Sorrow said to Ho Jian and the others. Ho Jian, Nan Liue, Lei Bao, and the others bowed to Night Sorrow and went to their sections. They had to greet the elders of their sects when they saw them. Of course Night Sorrow had to agree. After all, Night Sorrow was their captain. In the team, obeying orders was the most important thing. Chapter 445. Genius remembers love in 1 second / small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow is here? The masked Lan Yuxuan waved at Night Sorrow. Seniors are all here. Night Sorrow cupped his hands in greeting. Are you itching for a fight again? Qin Nan asked with a smile. Ah, Governor Qin must be joking. If there's a problem we have to do our part, Night Sorrow said. Lei Ho brought Night Sorrow into the tent and asked about the assassination attempt on Night Sorrow. Lei Ho received the news from Yin Shui because a new patrol had come to participate in the battle. It's fine. This matter should be over, Night Sorrow said with a smile. You should be careful. This governor doesn't have time to go back. When I go back I will look for them. If they dare to assassinate the people of the City Lord Mansion, then their assassination hall shouldn't stay in our Eastern Xian region, Qin Nan said coldly. This matter has already been dealt with. I've troubled Governor Qin. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and said to Qin Nan. Don't feel pressured. Today's battle is over. You just have to lead your men to battle tomorrow. As I said, be careful of sneak attacks. Qin Nan looked at the shoulder pads on Night Sorrow's shoulders. She was very familiar with them. Night Sorrow left a jar of wine for them and returned to the camp. The Blood Strike Guards had already set up their tents. In the middle were Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Xikong Chuyu's tents. The Qin Zhen and the Blood Strike Guards had already mixed together. This fellow's cultivation is rising really fast. He might attract the jealousy of others, Lan Yuxuan said as she watched Night Sorrow's departing figure. In tomorrow's battle we still have to keep an eye on him. Last time he was ambushed by the Dark Spiritual Corpse twice. I reckon that he will be the target of those bastards again, Lei Ho said. In that case I'll keep an eye on his team. You guys focus on keeping an eye on the other teams with outstanding combat power, Lan Yuxuan said. This was the current method of the human camp. While training the cultivators, it was also a form of protection. That's good. Everyone else is the same. Lei Huan nodded and said, Huaxin. Chapter D Section 8 on 0N1. A night passed. After Night Sorrow finished his cultivation, he began to organize the team. I don't care how many you can kill. However, safety comes first. No matter the situation, you are not allowed to leave anyone behind, Night Sorrow said as he looked at Ho Jian's group and the Blood Guards. Captain, don't worry. Everyone bowed. Alright, let's prepare for battle. There's one more thing. You can't go beyond my attack range. In other words, you're not allowed to go too deep, Night Sorrow emphasized. After seeing the group of people nod, Night Sorrow led a group of people and followed the other teams as they advanced to the front of the defensive line. The team on Night Sorrow's left was from the Medicine Valley, while the team on his right was from the Scarlet Cloud sect, which Night Sorrow didn't like. However, this was a time when they were united against a common enemy, so Night Sorrow didn't mind. At the defensive line, Dai Tianxiang waved the large flag in his hand and the human cultivators advanced forward. The dark creatures weren't fighting chaotically. They were currently gathering about 5 miles in front of the human defensive line, which was also a defensive line. This defensive line was used to prevent the human cultivators from advancing. Behind them, large numbers of undead creatures continued to gather. In this situation there was a commander. The undead creatures knew the human cultivators' bottom line. Once they advanced to the human defensive line, the venerables among the human cultivators would take action and exterminate all the dark creatures. This was indeed the case for the human cultivators. They couldn't solve the root of the problem. Even if they killed some dark creatures, it wouldn't solve the problem. Therefore they were guarding the defensive line at Broken Cloud Mountain. Every day they sent out teams of cultivators to kill the dark creatures because they were worried that when the number of dark creatures was too large, the dark spiritual corpses would attack and entangle the venerables. Then, the large number of dark creatures would be able to break through the defensive line and enter the human area. This would be a huge disaster for the civilians. Similarly, the dark creatures weren't worried about the venerables attacking the dark camp. This was because as long as the venerables were at the front, the dark spiritual corpses would charge into the low-level human cultivators' camp and cause a large number of casualties. It could be said that this area had reached a balance point. The dark creatures' venerables had concerns, and so did the humans' venerables. Currently, both sides were in a stalemate situation. As soon as the human cultivators charged forward, the dark creatures began to move as well. Soon, the two sides began to engage in close combat and began to kill each other. Night Sorrow released Tianyu and Silver Fox so that they could join the battle and practice. The others' mounts couldn't do the same. If they weren't fast enough, they would be killed easily. Tianyu and Silver Fox were both good at speed. The members of the Blood Strike Guard, Ho Jian, and the others cooperated and fought in groups. Night Sorrow was the sharp knife at the front. At this moment, the strength of the combat power could be seen. Most people fought one-on-one, but Night Sorrow didn't. The people he led also didn't fight one-on-one. Everyone fought in groups. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear. As long as a dark creature touched it, it would be killed in one shot. The reincarnation spear was like a weapon from hell, constantly reaping the lives of the dark creatures. The Blood Strike Guard, Ho Jian, and the others kept encircling the dark creatures in their circle of attack. Then they cooperated and killed the dark creatures that were encircled. Be careful. There are some rank 5 dark creatures up ahead. Night Sorrow kept releasing his soul power to check the situation in the surroundings. If a high-level dark creature appeared, he would discover it immediately. This team has been baptized in battle. Their individual combat power is strong and their group combat power is also ridiculously strong. Lan Yuxuan said to Qin Nan, who was standing beside her. At this moment, the two of them were standing in the sky behind the human cultivators, monitoring the entire battle. The other teams were the same. There were high-level human cultivators behind them. However, these high-level human cultivators also had a common understanding. They wouldn't attack unless a venerable realm dark creature appeared. This was to let the new generation of cultivators temper themselves. If they attacked when there was danger, they would lose the meaning of tempering themselves. 3 rank 5 dark creatures came to Night Sorrow's side. After Night Sorrow blocked one of them, he released a few more and let the others surround and kill them. At this moment, the combat power of Ho Jian's group and the Blood Strike Guard was different from when they fought on the Dark Island. At that time, the highest cultivation base in the group was at the peak of the 4th rank. Now there were more than 10 members of the 5th rank. Therefore, the 3 Void Inquiry stage dark creatures didn't bring any danger to the team. Night Sorrow killed the dark creatures he faced with a few shots. However, his expression changed greatly at the same time because the Medicine Valley's team couldn't hold on anymore. Gong Xian blocked a rank 5 dark zombie, but Emo Chen's team couldn't. He was hit by a dark lizard's claw and vomited blood. The dark lizard continued to pounce on Emo Chen. Chapter 446. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Spatial ripples visible to the naked eye appeared and rapidly pushed forward. He couldn't see clearly, but through the ripples he could feel the crescent-shaped energy slash. It instantly flew into the back of the head of this dark lizard that had just entered the 5th rank, and then flew out from its chin. After cutting the rocks on the ground into pieces, it even created a large trench. At this time, the other disciples of the Medicine Valley rushed up and protected Emo Chen. Seeing that Emo Chen was safe, Night Sorrow felt relieved. He didn't want anything to happen to his senior brother. Besides, he was closer to Emo Chen than the other senior brothers. After all, they were familiar with each other. 13 Well done. Yang Lei was a little excited. She was stunned just now. If it wasn't for Sikong Chuyu helping her defend, she would have been injured. 9th senior sister. You better take care of yourself. Night Sorrow glanced at Yang Lei and said, Good job, 13. Gong Xian shouted at Night Sorrow as he executed the Tempest Sword technique and killed his opponent. Eldest senior brother, be careful, Night Sorrow shouted as he waved his reincarnation spear and killed the dark creatures. What kind of ultimate skill is that? Lan Yuxuan looked at Night Sorrow's figure in surprise. Love Gong little sake, I don't know. Just now he was holding the spear with both hands. Who knows how he unleashed that move? It even carried spatial energy. Could it be some kind of spirit artifact? Qin Nan was also somewhat confused. No, if it's a spirit artifact, then there would be a very strong energy fluctuation when it's activated. We didn't feel it at all. His hidden trump card is really deep. Lan Yuxuan said with some emotion. Our escort team will soon have another commander. Qin Nan said excitedly. That's not necessarily true. Lan Yuxuan said with a smile. Are you planning to snatch him? Qin Nan glared at Lan Yuxuan. Look at C5 edition Z chapter G. Governor Qin's words are wrong. He was originally one of us, right? Lan Yuxuan glanced at Night Sorrow who was fighting hard and laughed. Alright, you win. Qin Nan snorted coldly and didn't continue to dwell on this issue. She knew that there were some things that didn't need to be said. She knew Wu Ling Fei's identity and knew that Night Sorrow's future wasn't something that Lan Yuxuan and the others could arrange. Night Sorrow continued to charge forward, leaving a trail of dark creature corpses behind him. He had already lost count of how many tier 5 dark creatures he had killed. Love Gong little sake, one of them was very strong. Night Sorrow was the one who took the brunt of the attack. Everyone worked together to kill it. After killing it, they took out its crystal nucleus. Based on the patterns on its crystal nucleus, they knew that it was a void inquiry stage dark zombie. After fighting for 3 hours, the banners near the defensive line were waved, and everyone was ordered to retreat. After such a high-intensity battle, many people were already exhausted. If they continued to fight, the casualties would increase infinitely. The human cultivators retreated, and the dark creatures returned to their original positions. When human cultivators died, their corpses would be collected. The corpses of dark creatures naturally became food for the dark creatures. After retreating, Night Sorrow checked on the team. There were only 2 people who suffered light injuries. It wouldn't affect them in tomorrow's battle. After that, Night Sorrow and Yang Lei went to the Medicine Valley. The core members of the Medicine Valley didn't die. However, a few of them were injured. Emo Chen suffered a very serious internal injury. 13 Thank you. Seeing Night Sorrow, Chu Lingfei wiped the corner of her eyes and greeted him. Sister Lingfei, there's no need to be so polite between us. Night Sorrow went to Emo Chen. 11th senior brother, how was it? I'm fine. If it wasn't for you 13, I would be a corpse now. Looking at Night Sorrow, Emo Chen felt a little emotional. 2 years ago, Night Sorrow was still a child who needed his protection. But now, he was already a void inquiry stage cultivator who could take charge of everything. Moreover, he even saved his life. Eldest senior brother, there shouldn't be any big problems on our side, right? Night Sorrow looked at Gong Xian and asked. It's impossible to have no casualties on the battlefield. The losses are still bearable. Come over and greet the Vice Valley Master. Gong Xian said to the team of Medicine Valley disciples. Greetings, Vice Valley Master. The other disciples of Medicine Valley bowed to Night Sorrow. Everyone don't be so polite. Eldest senior brother, do we have enough healing medicine here? Night Sorrow asked. No problem. It's supplied by the City Lord Mansion. In addition, we still have the spiritual liquid you gave us. It will be very useful during critical times. Gong Xian nodded. Alright then. If you have any problems, go over there and call for me. Night Sorrow cupped his fists at Gong Xian and then left the Medicine Valley camp, returning to the area where the blood-robed guards were stationed. However, Yang Lei stayed there and chatted with her senior and junior brothers. After returning to the camp, Night Sorrow called his subordinates who had reached the 5th tier to his tent. Then he took out the clear void pills and distributed some to each of them. It's a very good shortcut to improve your cultivation base during a battle. Cultivate diligently after the battle. Xueling, distribute these spirit calming pills to the other brothers. After distributing the clear void pills to the members of the 5th tier, Night Sorrow took out some spirit calming pills. Xueling thanks Captain on behalf of the other brothers. Xueling bowed and said. After that, the members of the blood-robed guards left. Yang Lei also returned to Night Sorrow's tent. The battle was too fierce. Our Medicine Valley lost some disciples during this period of time, Yang Lei said sadly. Ninth senior sister, take some life serum and give it to eldest senior brother. Let him distribute it to the others for self-defense. This way, if there's a problem, they can take a drop of life serum in time to stabilize their injuries and maintain their combat strength. Their chances of survival will be higher. Night Sorrow took out his jar of life serum, poured a bottle of pills into it and handed it to Yang Lei. Alright, I'll send it over. Yang Lei took the bottle of life serum and went to the Medicine Valley area. Night Sorrow poured another bottle of life serum into it. Then he called for Xueling and Ho Jian. This is a type of life serum that contains life serum. It's very effective for both healing and recovery. Distribute it equally among the brothers, Night Sorrow said. Thank you, Captain. Ho Jian and Xueling bowed to express their gratitude. They knew that this was something that could save their lives. Alright, there's no need for such formalities between us brothers. Night Sorrow waved his hand at them. Then Night Sorrow gave Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu a small bottle of life serum each. He had a very large jar, and this was only 1/10 of the total amount. Night Sorrow had some plans. He had already cultivated the Myriad Tao Tome to level 8 of the Consolidation Realm. He was not far from the level 5 Tao Querying Realm. Night Sorrow did not know how to deal with the problem of cultivation resources for entering the Tao Querying Realm. If there were no suitable cultivation resources, Night Sorrow would have to use the life serum to cultivate. Yishang knew that it was completely possible. The life spirit fluid was a spirit fluid that contained extremely strong vitality. It was a resource that both cultivators and demonic beasts needed. Chapter 447. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with interesting novels to read. The first level of the Myriad Tao Treasure Tome was the Blood Refining Realm, which was equivalent to the Qi Refining Realm. The second level was the Muscle Strengthening Realm, which was equivalent to the Qi Refining Realm. The third level was the Bone Forging Realm, which was equivalent to the Core Formation Realm. The fourth level was the Unity Realm, which was equivalent to the Spirit Severing Realm. The fifth level was the Tao Querying Realm, which was equivalent to the Void Inquiry Realm. The sixth level was the Spirit Refinement Realm, which was equivalent to the Boundless Heaven Realm, which was equivalent to the Venerable Realm. The seventh level was the Golden Body Realm, which was equivalent to the Sage Realm. Currently, Night Sorrow's Myriad Tao Treasure Tome was at the 8th level of the Unity Realm. The next level was the Tao Querying Realm, which was a rather special realm. It was a summary of the previous 4 levels. After entering the Tao Querying Realm, one would have to break the barrier of the energy in each area of the body. In other words, one would have to unify the energy in one's flesh, blood, veins, bones, bone marrow and internal organs. This way the energy would burst out faster and the strength of one's attack and defense would increase by leaps and bounds. Ordinary cultivators would use their qi to activate the profound meaning of the heavenly Tao. After reaching the peak of the Void Inquiry Realm, one would enter the Venerable Realm, which would allow one to become one with the world and use the energy of heaven and earth. The Myriad Tao Treasure Tome was about using one's body to seek the Tao. The Tao Querying Realm was similar to the Void Inquiry Realm. After reaching the peak of the Tao Querying Realm, one would enter the Spirit Refinement Realm, which was the same as the Venerable Realm for true Qi cultivators. The Myriad Tao Treasure Tome had a great advantage in terms of foundation. Both of them had reached the realm where one could communicate with the energy of heaven and earth. However, cultivating the Myriad Tao Treasure Tome had an additional benefit, which was to have a strong body. The highest level of the Sacred Cauldron Scripture was the Sage Realm. However, the 8th level of the Myriad Tao Treasure Tome was the Undead Realm while the 9th level was the Rebirth Realm. This was also the reason why Night Sorrow attached great importance to the Myriad Dao treasure tome. The starting point was the same but the results were different. What are you thinking about? You are so engrossed in your thoughts. Xikong waved her hand in front of Night Sorrow's eyes. Night Sorrow explained to Yang Lei and Xikong, I was a bit distracted. This thing is a bit different from the spiritual essence elixir. The spiritual essence elixir is a great help for Zhen Qi. It can calm the unstable Zhen Qi and also replenish the Zhen Qi consumed. This spiritual essence elixir can stabilize the body's injuries. Pete #original NH initial square root $$, we understand. Yang Lei and Xikong nodded. We've been fighting for an entire day. Let's make the best use of our time to cultivate. This way we'll be able to increase our cultivation base more firmly. Night Sorrow nodded to Yang Lei and Xikong. He took out the mysterious ice jade that Wu Lingfei gave him and began to meditate. While Night Sorrow was cultivating peacefully, some of the venerables were present in the command tent of the Eastern Shen region's cultivators. If we continue like this, we will be at a disadvantage, Dai Tianxiang said. For the time being, but as time passes, this disadvantage will turn into an advantage. There are many monsters in the death space, but is there an endless supply? That's impossible. Ho Yuan, who was wearing a mask, said. It's impossible for there to be an endless supply. If we continue killing like this, there will be an end. This is a great tempering for the cultivators of the Eastern Shen region. Those who can survive such a battle are elites. As for those who die, we will thank them for their contributions to the Eastern Shen region. At the same time, we will also save resources for others. Those who survive will have an easier time rising up. This is the great wave washing away the sand. The others nodded. The survival of the fittest was the law of survival. This was the great wave washing away the sand. These big shots who had gone through countless hardships to reach the venerable realm all understood this principle. Although many of those who died in battle were their juniors, they could only accept it. Then we will continue to fight. If we don't have enough people, we will mobilize some of the Black Iron Guards from the City Lord's mansion. Love go little say, Chu Qinnan said. Not for the time being. Look at the teams from the 7 great sections. They do have cultivation, but their cultivation bases are high and their battle prowess is low. They can't compare to Yi Shan's team at all. A group of spoiled hedonistic disciples need to be tempered with iron and blood. Tell them to send more people over, said Lei Hua somewhat angrily. The others silently agreed. In today's battle, the difference in strength between the teams was very obvious. They were all 4th order teams led by 5th order teams, but their combat strength was completely trash in front of Night Sorrow's team. No one objects. Let's arrange it this way. If they don't contribute, then we will settle the score with them later, Qinnan said. In addition, there are some special seedlings that everyone should pay attention to, Lan Yuxuan said. She didn't want to see the direct members of Tianji Tower lose their lives. Everyone must pay attention to this. If they are not strong enough, then it's their own business if they die in battle, but if they are killed by the Dark Spirit Corpse, then it's our fault, Lei Hua said. Did you guys notice the move Night Sorrow used to save people today? Was it the space slash? Dai Tianxiang asked. It should be some kind of unique skill. It's personal, so let's not dig into it, Lei Hua said. Others didn't know what was going on, but Lei Hua knew. He knew that it was the unique skill of the descendants of Night Moon's dynasty, space slash. Night Sorrow cultivated for the whole night. After getting up, he stretched his muscles and walked out of the tent. After leaving the tent, Night Sorrow was stunned. The Bloodstrike Guards and Ho Jian were all up. They were roasting 3 monsters in the middle of the camp. Captain, come. It's almost done. After eating and drinking, we brothers will continue to kill, Xueling shouted to Night Sorrow. I don't eat dark monsters. Night Sorrow frowned. When he thought of the dark creatures and dark zombies, Night Sorrow didn't have any thoughts. Captain, you're thinking too much. This is the yellow antelope that the Qinzhen woke up early to hunt on our side of the defensive line, Xue Fei said with a smile. Then let's eat. Qinzhen, thank you for your hard work. You have to hurry up and cultivate, Night Sorrow said as he patted Qinzhen's shoulder. After waking up this morning, I didn't have much to do, so I went hunting and came back to get some food for everyone. Thank you all for taking care of me, Qinzhen said with a red face. Qinzhen, go get some game for everyone. Everyone will be happy, but there's no need to thank us. We are brothers, Xueling said to Qinzhen. Thank you, Vice Captain. I understand, Qinzhen nodded. I'll take care of the wine. After eating, we will continue to fight. Let's see if these dark creatures can stop us. Night Sorrow took out a dozen jars of wine and placed them beside the fire. Ah, No matter who it is, as long as they stand in our way, we will kill them. Hou Jian said with a laugh. Kill. Anyone who stands in our way will be killed. Xueling and the others also said loudly. Then the group opened the wine jars, cut the meat of the yellow antelope and distributed it. Brothers, let's eat and drink well. Let's continue to kill. I will take care of the prey that comes back tonight, Xuefei shouted. This momentum is soaring. Dai Tianxiang exclaimed. Chapter 448. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After drinking, the group of people formed a battle formation. Brothers, I'll say it again. We won't leave any of our brothers behind. Many years later, when I stand in front of all of you and look back, I hope that one of you will be missing, Night Sorrow said. We won't let you down, Captain. Hou Jian and the rest of the Blood Strike Guard shouted. Then the group left the camp and arrived at the defensive line. The other groups also arrived at the defensive line. Night Sorrow tied the sky-piercing spear with and without the ice serpent tendon to his waist. Then the group set out to fight. The intensity of the battle was the same as the day before. In fact, it was even more intense. Night Sorrow brandished his reincarnation spear and the dark creatures fell one after another. When the Medicine Valley disciples were in danger, Night Sorrow would fire his sky-piercing spear to save them. After fighting for 2 hours, Night Sorrow's group killed countless enemies and saved the Medicine Valley disciples 4 times. With Night Sorrow's help, no one in the Medicine Valley died. On the other hand, the Scarlet Cloud sect to the right of Night Sorrow was in a sorry state. At this moment, 2 rank 5 dark zombies appeared in front of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow wasn't worried about the 2 mid-stage rank 5 dark zombies. Just as Night Sorrow's group was paying attention to the Medicine Valley, the Scarlet Cloud sect started a riot. 3 dark zombies appeared there. At this moment, something unexpected happened. Dozens of people from the Scarlet Cloud sect rushed towards Night Sorrow's group. They even brought the dark creatures with them. Hold your ground. Kill all of them. Night Sorrow was enraged. The Scarlet Cloud sect's actions were too vile. They could retreat if they couldn't hold on, but they couldn't do this. They were just causing trouble for others. Otherwise, Night Sorrow wouldn't have given the order to kill them. Trash. Qin Nan, who was monitoring Night Sorrow's area from the sky, cursed. Human cultivator parasites, let's see if Night Sorrow and the others can hold on. If they can't, we'll take action. The situation has already gone beyond our expectations. Lan Yuxuan's face was covered by a mask, so it was impossible to tell if she was happy or angry, but her voice was cold. At this moment, Night Sorrow made his move. The sky-piercing spear with the ice serpent tendon shot out continuously, killing several members of the Scarlet Cloud sect who were charging towards them. This was something that couldn't be helped. If this group of people rushed over, Night Sorrow's side would be thrown into chaos. Seeing Night Sorrow's ruthless attack, the people from the Scarlet Cloud sect no longer dared to charge forward and retreated. However, the group of dark creatures that attacked them had been lured over. Tighten the defense and stabilize the formation. After Night Sorrow gave the order, he joined the battle with 2 dark zombies that were charging towards him. Due to the urgency of the situation, Night Sorrow fought with all his might, suppressing the 2 Type 5 zombies. However, he couldn't kill them. After all, there were still many Type 4 dark creatures attacking him. The situation of Hou Jian and the blood-robed guards wasn't looking good. The Scarlet Cloud sect had brought over 3 dark zombies, and their levels weren't low. Stabilize. Type 5 members, keep them busy. The rest, defend the perimeter. Night Sorrow shouted. He then fired a spatial rend at the Type 5 zombie that he had just defeated. He had to end the battle quickly. Otherwise, Hou Jian and the others who had just entered the Type 5 realm wouldn't be able to hold on against the Type 5 zombies. If that happened, they would be in danger. If there were only Type 5 zombies, Yang Lei and Xikong would still be able to hold on since they were at a disadvantage. However, there were too many dark creatures at the moment. They had to face attacks at all times. The other 3 dark zombies were all mid-Type 5 dark zombies. The spatial rend that Night Sorrow used was very sudden. The Type 4 dark zombie couldn't withstand it and its head was directly split open by the spatial rend. After killing this dark zombie, Night Sorrow turned around and rushed towards Yang Lei and Xikong Chuyu. Hou Jian, Xueling, you two go and block this one. Night Sorrow did not continue attacking this dark zombie because its level was slightly lower. It had just entered the Type 4 Void Inquiry stage. Hou Jian and Xueling could hold it off for a while. Currently, the most dangerous ones were the 3 dark zombies that the Scarlet Cloud sect brought over. Seeing that the situation was urgent, Knight Sorrow launched the heaven-piercing spear with the Ice Flood Dragon's tendon when he dashed forward. It repelled one of the dark zombies and separated the 3 dark zombies from each other. Knight's senior sister, Chuyu and Liu, the 3 of you go and control this one. Knight Sorrow shook his arm and kept the heaven-piercing spear. Then he roared at Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu and Nan Liua. After shouting, Knight Sorrow dashed towards the dark zombie in the lead. He brandished the reincarnation spear and displayed the 7-star brilliant moon spear, aiming it at the dark zombie's chest. Original F version, first 7 shots carried bang. Knight Sorrow's spear landed on the dark zombie's blade that it used to block the attack. Under Knight Sorrow's spiraling attack, the dark zombie was pushed back by the strong penetrating force. At this moment, another dark zombie slashed its blade towards Knight Sorrow's side. Out of the 3 dark zombies that the Scarlet Cloud sect brought over, 1 was taken away by Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu and Nan Liua. Knight Sorrow still had to face 2 more. Retreat. Knight Sorrow roared. He waved his left hand and used the earth-shaking hand to welcome the dark zombie's blade. At the same time, he brandished the reincarnation spear in his right hand again. He used the myriad Dao Tome's energy to display the vibration force, which didn't conflict with the earth-shaking hand's true chi. Bang! Knight Sorrow's earth-shaking hand collided with the second dark zombie's blade. After a loud explosion, the dark zombie's blade and arm were shattered. At the same time, Knight Sorrow's spear also repelled the dark zombie in front of him. Taking 2 steps forward, Knight Sorrow brandished his spear again. He was still using the myriad Dao Tome's energy because his true chi had been exhausted. Following the explosion, the dark zombie that was at the peak of rank 5, rank 6 was once again repelled by Knight Sorrow. At the same time, Knight Sorrow's innate bloodline energy burst forth once again and released a spatial rend. Kacha. The dark zombie that was continuously repelled by Knight Sorrow had its head chopped off by the energy of the spatial rend. However, Knight Sorrow didn't have it easy either. The moment his body stopped after releasing the spatial rend, the dark zombie that had lost its right arm punched him in the back, sending him flying. This caused him to spit out a mouthful of blood. Kill? The myriad Dao Tome's energy circulated once in his body. Knight Sorrow brandished his reincarnation spear and charged towards the dark zombie that had lost its right arm. Although Knight Sorrow's true chi was exhausted and he was punched, the dark zombie that had lost its right arm was no match for him. After 3 spears, Knight Sorrow shattered its neck. However, Knight Sorrow also spat out another mouthful of blood. Captain? At this time, Ho Jian and Xueling, who had killed the rank 5, rank 4 dark zombie, rushed over and blocked the ordinary dark creatures that were attacking Knight Sorrow. Retreat. Knight Sorrow supported himself with the reincarnation spear so that he wouldn't fall. After consuming a drop of origin energy and a drop of life liquid, he gave the order to retreat. This was because the flag at the eastern Xian region's defense line was waving. That was the order to retreat. At this time, Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and the others had joined forces to kill the last rank 5 dark zombie.